Welcome to ETN.
Here we go.
It's the most European podcast in the world, and we are bang on time today.
Bang on
Absolutely
time.
bang on
Let's
time.
go.
You love to see that.
We did it.
We got some news
Huge.
today. Let me hit the money. Straight off the bat, ElevenLabs, 500 million. An absolutely blockbuster round for the London headquartered AI monolith.
Pretty poetic that they hit a $11 billion valuation. ElevenLabs, $11
Yeah, I
billion
wonder if that
valuation.
was done on purpose. You know that they
100%
love
done
to.
on purpose.
What is it? Turning up to 11 is one of their things.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, awesome news to see that. We were trying to find some place that had covered it, and like I recently, literally hours ago, had tweeted out about how we couldn't find the article in the FT on the day of the announcement, and we know that ElevenLabs are expanding to the US, and the Wall Street Journal has an exclusive, and that makes a lot of sense. But for the good of the nation, can we not see
Just do
an
it.
ElevenLabs success story?
Just do it.
In the FT, can we not?
Please.
But that aside, it's amazing news. The two co-founders just on an absolute tear. We'll discuss some of the articles, the numbers, who's coming on board. It looks like Sequoia's led the round. Andrew Reeder's coming on the board.
Iconic tripled down or quadrupled down.
Iconic was triple. Sequoia was quadruple, and Matt Miller's Avantic makes another appearance.
Indeed.
Also got involved in Synthesia's recent round, which is good to see. So yeah, it's been a bit of a.
Matt on the show.
We'd love to have Matt on the show.
Matt, please come on the show.
If you can hear us, Matt, come and join us. Absolute blockbuster day for Europe again, and it's starting to feel like they're lovable. ElevenLabs, Synthesia, definitely entering the world stage.
Yeah.
Things are changing very quickly. Europe's getting a lot of attention and seems to be just dominating the application layer. Parloa as well, you know.
Yeah, dude.
350 million.
It's just
We've
all
got the
popping
founder
off.
coming
It's
on
great.
today. But why don't we talk about the
we
guest
have a guest list to I guess combat that to kind of to match everything that's going on.
Wait,
which is pretty cool.
before we do that, I want to say quickly
yeah.
to the viewers and listeners. Today, I told Luke I'm going to make a concerted effort to not say the word like
Nice
on today's show. So if you hear me say it, challenge me. Maybe, tweet me. If you hear me talking slower than usual, it's because I'm working on it.
That'll be why.
So yeah, just a heads up. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to do that today. There you go.
Congrats.
Thanks. I'm
Nice.
actually really
You got it off your
excited about
chest.
it. I just had to get that out there.
Anyway, so we have an insanely stacked guest list, literally back to back, from 20 past 11 all the way until 2. 11:20, we have Hugo Mercier. He is the founder of Twin, incredible company. Then straight off the back, we have...
So wait, quickly on Twin, sorry. Hugo went super viral recently.
Yeah, he did.
It's another agentic framework that can do basically everything for you. Agent swarms. Their launch on X was one of the...
Did like 4 million views.
It was one of the most viral, well-known company to launch recently.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'd love to
company.
get into like that launch and how they specifically designed it because it did incredibly well. So shout out to Hugo Mercier and the team.
Indeed.
I'm excited to jump into that one.
Indeed. It's going to be a good one. Then at 11:40, we have Connor Tuome. He's the co-founder and CEO of AI One. An absolute, I hope I pronounced that right, Tuome, I probably. But he has done a lot of work in the financials, kind of like, financial system in general, worked with a lot of big banks and basically to improve their efficiency. So it's going to be very good to talk to him. I think AI One is just like an absolute tear and is killing it.
Yeah, so AI One connects.
I've got a bunch of questions about how they kind of work and form all of that kind of data and everything gets super messy and they just like consolidate everything.
Yeah.
Make things 100 times, whatever, 10 times more efficient.
So AI1, it connects to your existing environment, interprets relationships between data, processes, and policies, and creates a single source of truth that only AI can act on.
There you go.
He's got some very good thought leadership takes on AI. There's one in particular, actually, that he mentioned comparing... have you seen The Prestige?
No.
Film? You've not seen The Prestige?
No. I'm not a very good film guy.
Wow. Okay. Well, he compares...
You know this.
Yeah.
I don't watch movies.
That's true. Yeah, you like The Equalizer 2, extra anything with Chris Pratt
Cars
firing
2.
a gun. Yeah,
I like
Cars 2
Cars
is a
2.
good film actually. I've got a lot of time for Cars. But he's got some amazing takes where he compares the world of AI to The Prestige. So I'd love to understand what in particular he's referring to here. We have that written down. I'm going to ask him about it because I'm very, very intrigued.
Okay,
Prestige is one of my favorite films.
You can ask him about that.
I have to ask him about that.
Okay,
It's
cool.
one of my favorite films.
That's good. Well, he doesn't know that's coming up, so it's gonna be good. Then we have at 12. We have is it pronounced Julio?
Julio Martinez.
Okay, Julio Martinez, co-founder and CEO of Abacum, which is just a wild thing to say. It was pretty cool. Then at 12:30 we have.
Wait, I have to just get a bit on Julio.
You want to do it?
I just have to because Julio.
Dude, we don't have very long.
We got 15 minutes. We're good. Julio is an incredible founder. He's founded Abacum. For those who don't know what it is, it sits in the FP&A EPM space. It's a space that I've previously worked in. I worked for a company called Pigment. Abacum was a competitor of Pigment. Anaplan also sits in that space. It's the market leader. Abacum and Julio on an absolute tear. They raised a Series B last year, 60 million. He has a particular philosophy around stoicism for founders as well. He's very, very into that, which I'm very excited to jump into with him. And a lot on expanding to the US, how an individual who is non-native to the US can expand, enter a country with no connections, no network, and basically ramp his company into the US. And now Abacum's revenue percentage is 50% dominated by US companies. So incredible success story, incredible individual, very driven. Super excited to jump into the conversation with Julio Martinez as well.
Boom. We can do this for every guest. This is easy for me. Then we have Daniel Chait. He is the CEO at Greenhouse. He's coming on at 12:30.
And this one is just nuts. The CEO of Greenhouse is coming on
wild.
ETN. This is insane. Greenhouse is one of the most well-known software companies in the world. It's one of the OG HRIS platforms, one of the OG HR platforms. It was the snazzy new Workday when it came out. Like the CEO of Greenhouse coming on this show is insane, and I can't wait to talk to Daniel about it. We've got some very, very deep researched questions for Daniel, particularly on. There's one that I like in particular. And I'm giving so much away right now, but particularly one example where he also used to work in finance. And he describes the switch from going to finance to tech as he had to kind of shed his armor as he changed his roles. And that was really interesting.
Shed his skin.
Yeah.
Like a snake.
But the armor though, you see, he's used the word armor there for a reason. I want to ask him why.
What was that armor?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out at 1 p.m, aren't we?
It's going to be good. Well, no, 12:30, but yeah. Then at 1 p.m, we have Malte Kusub. I hope I'm pronouncing these right. CEO and co-founder of Parloa. Again, an insane guest. Do you want to jump in?
Absolute monster.
Yeah.
Absolute monster.
Monster of a founder.
350 million Series D. I'm absolutely ecstatic that we've got him on. It's a 3 billion valuation. Shout out to the team at GC who helps us sort this out.
Indeed.
The Parloa founder, Malte, has an interesting background. He actually founded his first company when he was 11 at school, and it was basically grew into a sort of a music-focused non-profit. And then following that, he was worked in commerce, in e-commerce, like sort of selling T-shirts with song lyrics on. And then after that, built a 3 billion giant.
I feel like if you do that
Parloa.
at 11, you're kind of like destined to go and build a $1 billion company.
Yeah, 11 years old. 11 years old, I was boosting in Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. With strangers.
I had my head in the sand at 11
Absolutely.
years old. Anyway, then we have the one and only Nicholas Sharp. He is the founder and CEO of Attio. You guys all know
Nick's got to
Attio.
play the trumpets for Nick.
Indeed. So Attio have just released Ask Attio, which is their new, is it in like an agentic builder? Is that right?
Yeah, so this is their new, and it's nuts to be fair, but it's.
Whereas like I think Nick literally said like this is like 10 years of software development like in a post. Like this is,
and they're known for that, right?
Yeah.
They're known for
well, not 10 years, sorry, just years.
grinding behind the doors. Not sort of like they were in stealth for 3 years before they launched.
Yeah.
So they're known for just heads down, build, come out with something nuts, have a quick chat about it. Back to the office, heads down, build again.
Yeah.
They've also just opened a new office in London as well. But previously,
Which Nick will be calling in from. I assume.
Yeah, I hope so. I'd love a little tour if they can maybe do that. Just
Yeah.
have a little snooze around.
We'll
Maybe
see.
we can ask him. They were already based in London, but they've had to upgrade the office because they're scaling so quickly. So
Congrats,
and
yeah.
Nick's also a return guest. This is his second time on the show. And we have a lot of time for the team over there at Attio. We also have some Attio merch knocking around.
I'm going to wear my jumper.
You were wearing the jumper this morning.
I'm wearing
Should
my
we hold
jumper
it up for
this
the
morning. Can everyone see it?
Is there anything on the back?
No, there's nothing on the back.
It's
simple.
incredible quality though. I really like this. One of my
It's
favorite
simple.
pieces of merch we've had.
Well, yeah, it's mine.
And it's
So,
a little. You took it.
I've taken it.
Yeah, Team Attio.
I've actually been wearing it a lot.
We only got one
Thanks, Attio.
jumper, and Luke's stolen it. So I got a t-shirt actually. The t-shirt's quite nice.
You haven't worn the
The white
t-shirt yet.
t-shirt. No, it's in my
Calling you
bag.
out,
It's in my bag right now with my Polymarket t-shirt.
Well, I'm gonna as soon as we have Nick on, it's going on.
What's going on? Nice.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Huge fan.
Then, last but not least, for the last 10 minutes of the show, we have Tiago Sada, a latecomer, but CPO at World, or Tools for Humanity. It's kind of like interchanging. Do you want to say what they're building? Because it's actually wild.
So this blew me
Co-founded
away.
by Samo as well, which is cool.
Yeah, this blew me away. So I know about World. I didn't know too much about Tools for Humanity, to be fair. But essentially, one of the main things that we want to dig into is one of their products, the Orb, which is around a human identification technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it is as it sounds in terms of like its mythological origins. It looks like
Black
something
Mirror-esque.
Yeah, and it looks cool. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
I want to dig into that with him and what the culture's like there. I mean, his background is absolutely phenomenal as well. He, I was reading when we were just doing some preparation for the show, but he has a background in competitive robotics and human-computer interaction research at Worcester. This is a hard word to say. Worcester. Worcester. Is that it?
Nice.
Okay, Worcester. Sorry. Thank you, Ola. Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Co-founded Flinto, which is a payments app for Latin America, which was eventually acquired by the micromobility company Grin. Served as VP of Pay at Grow Mobility, where he led payment solutions before joining the core team at Tools for Humanity, which he now works at as CPO. He leads product engineering and design there. So yeah, this is going to be the Orb for me. Was just when I googled it and actually looked at it, it is literally a robot orb.
Yeah.
And if I've
Something
not
from
seen
like
a video of it being used.
like something from like a movie.
Yeah. I've not seen a video of it being used, but it looks to me as if one is to just stare into the orb, it will scan your face and kind of confirm that you are human. And it's relevant right now, right? With all the malt
That's why I'm super keen to get him on, because I assume he has some cool takes about Maltbook and everything that's going on in the agent world and how, I guess we move forward as humanity, right? Pretty philosophical questions, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good. We're gonna,
Game over.
is it game over for humanity? We don't know. We'll have to ask. We'll have to ask Tiago. It's going to be good. Anyway, quick word from our sponsor. Airwallex, leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. Before we have all of those guests on, should we go deep dive some news?
Yeah, let's do the ElevenLabs article.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to pull this one up this time, but let's just
Only in Sifted. It's not in the FT. This is just really.
And look, just quickly before we do this, if anyone from the FT is listening, I plead with you now. I'm looking directly into the camera. For anyone,
Yesterday was a big day for UK tech.
I plead with you now. Please cover these success stories on the day. Please just have someone write a really cool pro article about
Just
this.
copy the old article and just take out, potentially or.
And I know there was a scoop piece, and like the scoop rumors have been confirmed, and that's great. But let's just celebrate on the day. Let's just get a new one out there. Let's find out about the changes to the board. Let's find out about who the new investors are. Let's find out, what the funding split is. And I know, like, the FT is also FT Ventures. It's on the cap table of ElevenLabs.
It's a bit of a bag fumble from the FT.
So whoever your growth team are, guys, I'm asking you, please. No disrespect, but come on. Anyway, I'm glad we could just settle that.
Go to Sifted if you want to read about ElevenLabs.
I'm glad we could
ElevenLabs news.
We could just have that chat there, not private live stream chat. Anyway, let's get into it.
Yeah.
AI voice unicorn ElevenLabs has raised $500 million in Series D funding at an 11 billion valuation led by Sequoia Capital. The blockbuster raise comes just a year after the startup raised 180 million at a 3.3 billion valuation. Was that a year ago?
Yeah.
That's insane. Co-led by Andreessen Horowitz and Iconic, which both... There's the M-dash again. I've seen the M-dash. I'm not saying it's AI, just saying. Which both participated...
God, you're really hitting on these traditional media platforms.
I chose violence today. I don't know what happened. I had a great sleep. I had a really great sleep. Which both participated in the Series D round. Existing investors, Broadlight, NFDG, Valor Capital, AMP Coalition, and Smash Capital also invested in the latest raise, while Lightspeed, shout out to the team at Lightspeed, Avantic Capital, and Bond join as new investors. The funding will be used to build out its enterprise offering. That is super exciting, by the way. I know it's kind of lame for me to say, but that is actually super exciting. They are going to smash that in the US. I just absolutely
so I mean, look, they well, you can keep reading, but yeah, dude, I'm just gonna say their move like upmarket to enterprise like should be studied. They were 100% revenue just
consumer side.
Just consumer, like individual creators. I guess not a fad, but like they were still doing 25 million ARR, but then moved up the stack and have just absolutely like killed it.
Yeah.
And are now becoming just like, so integrated into all of these enterprise companies. It's just, it's incredible. And obviously they're doubling down on 11 Agents, which is their new kind of enterprise platform for building like voice and chat agents, which is cool.
Love it.
But yeah, keep going.
Well,
It's just incredible. So cool.
Well, it's also, it seems to be a more common theme now that larger companies that are AI native have the ability to, still rare, still very hard to do, but they have the ability to conquer consumer and enterprise. They can either pick one and then go and do the other, or do both at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, look at OpenAI. Again, that's heavily consumer focused. It's Anthropic, heavily enterprise focused. But it does kind of seem to be.
But then again, I've seen
heavily enterprise focused.
I've seen tweets talk about how Claude or Anthropic's move from being like the nerdy kid who's like enterprise only to having this beautiful brand that is
stunning.
Can be consumer facing.
Yeah, they've also done. We can touch on that a little bit in the lab wars that we're seeing at the moment between OpenAI and Anthropic. But just quick side note, their marketing team, world class.
Who's this?
Anthropic.
Yeah.
Generational. Have you seen what they're doing on like the short form stuff? They're hiring like a bunch of creators to run like essentially, hey, it's not
genuinely like world class.
Non-native tech people can use Claude too. And here's loads of great examples of it. Like the videos are stunning. Like they're absolutely stunning. Huge. Well, whoever is doing their marketing team, amazing work. And the new ads that they've just dropped dissing OpenAI.
Yeah, super
insane.
Funny. Well, we're going to go through them. It's quite cool.
Sorry, Matty. We'll come back to this. The funding round will be used to build out its enterprise offering as the company scales its conversational agents platform, which can be used by businesses for sales, marketing, customer service, and internal comms. And then there's just a bit more about like stuff in general.
Matty said on a LinkedIn post yesterday, he said there's still so much more to build, and we're excited to have incredible investors joining us to help us move faster. Our work today powers a wide range of use cases across agents and the creator space. We're continuing to build 11 Creative for creators. Brands and media companies, helping elevate storytelling to new heights. At the heart of it all is our state-of-the-art research, now spanning text to speech, speech to text, music, dubbing, conversational models. And here too, we are just getting started. Our mission continues to transform how we interact with technologies. It's so clever. They're just like kind of eating like the whole
eating the world
of that.
At the end of the article, it goes, "We stay hungry, knowing how early this space still is as we build toward IPO and beyond."
IPO.
An
IPO would be cool.
Yeah.
An IPO.
We'd have to warn them. Don't do it. Look what happened to Figma.
Is that what we're going to say?
No, I want them to do it. I want to buy some of that. I want some of that ElevenLabs exposure.
Indeed.
I want some of it.
Yeah. Well, we know you have quite a few angels who are exposed already from
Alex
seed.
McDonald is pre-seed. He's got
Absolutely.
a decacorn on his hands.
Is he pre-seed?
He's pre-seed. Yeah. Alex McDonald was pre-seed.
Oh my god.
I know, it's
Unicorn
insane.
on his hands. He loves it. Decacorn on his hands.
Yeah, even better.
Hilarious. Anyway,
our next guest.
first on the show we have Hugo Mercier. He is the founder of Twin. Hugo, can you hear us?
We're gonna bring him in right now. We can hear you loud and clear.
Can you
Hugo,
hear
how's
all
it
the
going?
noises going on as well?
Sorry if that was deafening you a little bit. How's it going?
Pretty good. It has been a quite intense week.
Yeah,
Excited.
we saw. Congratulations on the launch. It's absolutely incredible. I was just saying, we've not seen a software launch that isn't maybe a large AI lab gain as much traction as you guys for a while. I'd love to dig into the whole GTM process on that as well specifically. But before we do that, maybe just for the viewers at home and the listeners who maybe aren't aware of what Twin is, if you could introduce yourself and what the business is.
Yeah, sure. So what Twin is doing, it's an agent builder that you can use to build any type of agent that can automate pretty much any task using any application in a very simple way. So you don't have to code, you don't have to structure any workflow. You just describe your task, and the agent is basically under the hood going to code the API integration, use a browser if the application don't have the API to just get things done for you. And so it's a kind of a cloud bot, but it's not a personal assistant. It's more for like professional task, and it's super easy. So you have no setup. It's not local, that's kind of what it is.
So cool. This seems to be, I'm not sure if it's now, that people are kind of waking up to the fact that these things can be extremely efficient, can be extremely valuable for consumers in a way.
Yes.
Obviously businesses as well, but I think consumers are realizing, hey, I can use this thing to run my whole life in a way. And I think what we've seen in the past is we've got a lot of these agentic systems that promise a lot and they don't really work. People fall in love with the idea, but they don't really follow through. But like after Maltbox rise and Maltbots rise, it's kind of opened a new paradigm, and it's so good to see Twin sitting in that realm as well, which is I think an amazing thing. Can we talk about the launch? Like this went absolutely. I'm not sure what the numbers were. Like over 4 million impressions, I think.
Yeah.
So what was the thinking here? Like what was the lead up to this?
So the thing is that it has been quite improvised. So originally we were expecting to launch this week. So we had like a great, video that we actually launched yesterday, and a new website. And what happened is that I saw on X like people losing their mind over a cloud bot. And what I saw is like, we have a 10x product. So I think I sent a message to the team on Slack at 6 a.m. on Tuesday and said, and basically said, today we launch. So we had a couple of people in the team that just, put together a small video and the website, and we had a bunch of like infra-related issues to come over, but it wasn't mostly planned. It was mostly planned for this week. And I think what happened is that we got a few influential people to retweet it, and it came, at a time where people starting to realize that setting up CloudBot is actually hard. I'm not going to buy a Mac Mini. I have security issues, and we kind of introduced this vision where it's just no setup in the cloud, super seamless for everyone. And with this angle also that I think people resonated a lot with, which is the AI company builder, which means that it's not only a tool that you use to automate your own task, but it's something where you can actually build an end-to-end business on top of it, because it can use any application. It's really smart for it. It can reason. Then you can actually build full end-to-end businesses. Like Sam Altman, I think a year ago mentioned the one-person unicorn, and I think we're getting closer to that. So I think a mix of like the right positioning, the right timing just made it explosive. But we weren't expecting that much, to be honest. So our servers quite burnt. Basically, didn't sleep not much. A bunch of stuff broke, but it was really cool.
Dude,
yeah, that's
awesome,
good
dude.
problem to have for sure.
I'm sorry, just like that is so weird. So I used my old. I think it's an amazing thing. I think some people can always think that maybe they would look at Maltbook or Claude, whatever it is now, OpenClaw, and think that your team maybe think that, oh no, like this isn't good. Like we this thing is kind of in a similar realm to us and they're going viral. And I think that's a fair reaction at first. But I remember when I used to work at Convergence, this company that was building browser-based agents. So kind of in this similar space, we were really early. We ran the thing for 11 months and ended up getting acquired by Salesforce, which was amazing. But at the time, I remember we had a similar situation with you, like as to you. We were meant to launch it was meant to be like a month and a half away, launch date, and things weren't really ready. And it was Thursday night, and I was at a pub with a friend, and I got a text from our head of product who said, "Have you seen the news?" And I checked the news and went on X and saw that OpenAI had released Operator, which was the exact same thing as what we were building. So that, when someone's like, why would you build this? OpenAI or Google could just release it and it will kill you. That actually happened. And we were panicking at first, and we did what you guys did, what anyone would do is we brought the launch forward. So we launched on Monday instead of 2 months ahead. But it was amazing because the OpenAI, our post went viral, not as viral as yours, but it did well. But the OpenAI release of Operator, it educated the market for us on what is possible. So I'd love to, what was your team's reaction at the time? How were you guys feeling internally? Because for us, it was chaos, despair, and then happiness at the end of it. So.
Yes, so I wouldn't say it was chaos. I think myself and my co-founder were a bit pissed to see people just losing their mind over, I'm going to buy a Mac Mini and that's awesome. And then you say, yeah, but like who wants to buy a Mac Mini? And so we were a bit frustrated about like why people are picking up that much. But then we realized that actually it's because they discovered what we discovered a few months ago, because we started working on this product like 4 months ago. And back then, a lot of people were talking, so it's a bit technical, but a lot of people were talking about MCPs. And we kind of discovered another way. We actually discovered that LLMs were good at coding API integration in real time. That's the big unlock that I think we discovered and Claude Bart discovered. And so we were a bit against everyone, and we worked on this product for 2-3 months, realized it was pretty awesome. But then it was a bit frustrating as a founder to say, like, I haven't been there, like maybe a week before, that would have been us. And it was frustrating to see, people kind of like liking this approach. But I think just like a normal founder reaction, but we weren't really much panicking because we really believe that our product is better. Like when you use it, it's just like great, and user were telling us this. So I think it just put a bit of pressure, like you need to get out there. But also what I told my team is that I think it's an opportunity for us to just accelerate things, but we should not optimize for hype. Because also the problem of X is that, it's either like, oh, it's awesome, or it's very bad. And most people actually commenting don't use the products they're commenting. And so I think it could be very dangerous as a team to over-optimize for hype on X. I think it's good if you can leverage it, but I think you should be really focused into like on your customers, making the experience great. And I think that's how you win long-term. So yeah, for sure, you always get a bit emotional, but ultimately it's a 10 years journey, right?
Yeah. Do you feel that, you mentioned the one person unicorn. Do you feel that how long away do you think we are to kind of, for someone building that? And do you think it could be built on Twin?
Yes. I do think it could be built on Twin. And the reason why is because, like let's say you want to start a business tomorrow. You have coding agents. So your coding agents can, build an app for you. But then you have to distribute your app. So you have to do marketing or lead gen for B2B. And then you have back office, you have customers, you have to ship products, you have to generate invoices. And so you can't really build a business if you can't automate the operations at scale. And Twin is the first product that can really do it seamlessly. And so I think like, and this is what we are seeing like on the use case. So we have a bunch of team productivity use case, like you're managing your Gmail, your GitHub, Slack, whatever. But what I'm very excited about is because I was looking at some of the use case this morning, and there is a company that automated a plumbing business in New York. So it answers the phone, it classifies the urgency, then it uses Airtable as a database, and it runs fully autonomously, like an e-commerce store, a one-person hedge fund, and we saw like those companies actually people started building on top of Twin 2 weeks ago. And when you think of it, it's like pretty crazy to see that people in a few hours, in a few days, can actually build an end-to-end business on top of Twin. So I do think that, of course, capabilities are improving, models are getting better. And I think like capability-wise, it's going to be a question of basically context. So can we make agents so that instead of doing like today, 50, 100, 150 actions, they can actually go out for weeks in a fully autonomous way. And it all comes to like the memory and like how do you manage the context. And we are working really hard on that. And I think that if we're able to do that, then yes, we could have things like that. Of course, not everyone will be the 1 billion success because you need the right idea, the right angle. But directionally, I think we are getting there, yes.
Love the bullishness. So cool. And if I'm correct, you guys are based in Paris, right?
Yes.
Can you maybe just talk to us a bit about, oh, look at that view. Damn, that's good. Yeah, it looks like AI. You've got like the legitimate like Parisian street. You get the Parisian ecosystem is something that is relatively close to my heart. I used to work at Pigment, a French company. Can you maybe just explain to us what's it like in Paris on the ground for the tech scene?
Yeah, I'd say you have good teams. I think we lack funding, to be honest. We like our team is very international, right? So like I think we are only 2 French people on maybe a team of 8. So we are very, very much international. I think on the AI scene, we are pretty good. We have good French founders with like Mistral and Hugging Face. We have good technical talents. I do think we are still lagging a bit behind in terms of like level of ambition on the average founder, which is to me a bit correlated with the VC market. It's very rare to find funds who are actually able to bet on something that is very new. Because, I remember when I did my pre-seed, we raised with a bunch of angels like the Hugging Face founders and BetaWorks in New York City. But when I met with like, French funds, they were all almost laughing at us. Like, you're not, DeepMind researchers, you're not OpenAI researchers. How can you make something like that? Ultimately, we made it. And I think, there is something in Silicon Valley that is a bit different around risk, around craziness, boldness, that I find like harder to find there. But of course, there are great teams. But I think we should like improve on that front.
Yeah, that's good. That's it's an interesting take. I feel like it's not too uncommon as well. I think there's definitely a change happening in Europe for sure. We were just talking about it earlier. We can feel it.
We think there's an acceleration where it's almost like a waterfall of like more or like a compounding effect where more founders are doing more amazing things, and that then leads to 10 other founders doing that, and then at least to 100 other founders doing that. And so would you say over the next 10 years or 5 years or whatever, things I guess can change in that respect? What would need to potentially be changed? Is it the VCs that need to say, let's go and back more, crazy things, or is it the founders that need to go and do more crazy things? What's the...
Yeah, so I think somehow founders are a bit a reflection of the VC market, right? Because when you start your company, you need to get financed. And so if everyone is asking you a question like, has it been already done in the US? Can we build some moat in Europe due to regulation and so on? Because that's the only way we think we can make money in Europe. Then I think, it's going to be like a vicious cycle. So I think we need funds that are actually taking bets, right? We want to fund crazy ideas, crazy people, not people only coming from École Polytechnique or HEC. By the way, I did École Polytechnique, and I think we are overfunding people like that. My co-founder is a self-taught guy, and one of the feedback we got from one of the VC was, he did law school. Yeah, he did law school, but he also dropped out of law school to create a hedge fund that generated 10 million, right? So I think it's technical, And so I think like there is something around VC. I'm a bit afraid of like the political situation in France, to be honest, like when everyone is talking about retirement age at 64 or 63 or 62. And also the fact that, people need to work hard. So, with my team, we are working at night, on the weekend, no holidays. And so I think there are a bit of like political things, like especially if you want to hire people, be able to hire rapidly, and then VCs. And I think founders will naturally be inspired by building a bit more ambitious or crazy companies.
Yeah, we saw recently as well, like tech sovereignty is a huge thing in the news at the moment. It's made its way over to the UK as well, but from the headlines we've seen, France seems to be championing a little bit of it, but it's not rolled out. It's just being discussed, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And we've had some pretty negative views for that personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to hear your take on the ground. Like, what are people saying about it?
Honestly, I don't think tech sovereignty should be a thing, right? Like we should just create the best products in the world. We shouldn't look for funding companies to be sovereign. You know what I mean? I think there is a bit of a spirit like we need to fund our own AI companies because we don't want to be reliant on US companies. I think we should rather think about how can we create the next OpenAI that everyone in the world would use. So at least that's how we started the company. It's really like I'm really not a big fan of this concept.
Yeah.
I think it's just like another, it's just another barrier, right? It just adds, being a VC is hard enough to try and find the best founders, but when you add like another layer of, but they have to be this, demographic, or they have to be this, or they have to be this, it's like that just adds more barrier to go and find the people that you want to find, which I think is silly. So I agree.
We also thought that the rollout of it was ludicrous in a way where it's like they're just saying, we're not going to use the best stuff anymore. We're going to use our stuff. That's not good.
No.
And the reason for that is because the UK in particular has done this as well, but we've been maybe not investing in building domestic, like really good domestic technology. You can't not do that for a number of years. And then at the end of that cycle, turn around and say, by the way, we're going to, whatever this thing is, our version of Zoom, we're going to use this now. And like none of it works. So it just makes, I think it's cutting off our nose to spite our face. I think it doesn't really work. But yeah, Hugo, sorry, we've run over a little bit. One last question, if it's okay. Like, what's next for Twin? What are you guys focusing on now?
Growth. I think we have really the opportunity to build a generational company. So we are really we need to keep growing, extending the capability of the agent. We launched recently, like yesterday, the community. We are very excited about basically the ability for people to securely share the agent they built and train to other people, and maybe get customers or clients from this community space, and people to try them easily. So I'd say, focusing on product capabilities, improving the performance of the agent, and growing as fast as we can.
I wanted to just quickly ask one more question. Mm-hmm. What's the one of the big things that I guess coding on Claude and OpenClaw allows especially developers to do is have kind of full reign of whatever they want to go and do, right? It's kind of like a blank space for them. I guess for like the less technical people out there, you have Claude Cowork, which was their kind of the reason why they built Claude Cowork was for the less technical people who didn't want that blank space because they saw looking at a terminal was scary. What's the kind of thing, the demographic that Twin are kind of searching for? You say that it's easy and simple to be able to build products off the back of the agents. One might argue that maybe, put strain on or like restraints on developers who just want that blank space to kind of build their own thing. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think so we implemented a few things on the product side to make it easier for people to start. So we, usually automation software, they have a bunch of like templates, but you don't really resonate with them. So we switched to this brainstorm mode. So you come with we ask you a few questions about you, and then we kind of give you some ideas of agents to run, and then we personalize it, and then very rapidly people come to something that is very custom and works for them. So I think that's how we make it really great on the product standpoint. Then I think some people will be builders on Twin, some people will be consumers on Twin. So all these features around community, and even the next one, which is deploying your agent to your own customers, are going to be towards, I don't build, I consume, and I want the best experience possible. And some people will be more on the building side and creating those agents. And our bet there is that we ultimately be a platform where builder and consumers of agents meet. So that's how we kind of see solving the issue.
Okay, that's interesting. That's so cool. Awesome. Dude, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. And congratulations on the launch.
Yeah, keep us posted, man.
Thanks for the invite. Thanks a lot. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, you guys.
Have
a good one. So awesome. Anyway,
before we have our next guest on, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Next on the show, we have Connor Twomey. I hope I'm saying that right. Connor, can you hear me? Is that right?
He's first.
Oh no! Well, how do I say it?
Toomey. Connor Toomey. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
I think I said Twome
Twomey
at the beginning of the show as well.
Connor, with 1,000 apologies, but I'm going to hit the trumpets and welcome you in to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Connor Toomey, founder of AI1, the enterprise context management startup. Connor, how are you? Welcome to the show.
We're doing great. I need a double trumpet for the fact that the sun hasn't even risen in New York City.
Right, double trumpet coming right up, my friend.
There you go.
There we go. Connor,
we are caffeinated, but we're doing all right.
Okay, nice. Wait, what time is it there? How early is it?
It's 20 to 7. It's not horrific. I have two young kids, so they're going to be sprinting in here any minute.
Have you seen, that's kind of like, there's that famous BBC interview, I think, where the kid's like running into the room. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
My wife literally sent it to me last night. She's like, listen, if this happens, it's not going to be the worst thing, you know?
That's hilarious.
That would be funny.
That's so good.
Connor, look, thank you so much for making time for us. Thank you for joining us as well. We've been really excited about that. We've got a bunch of questions to jump into. Maybe just before we get going, if you could introduce yourself and describe AI1 for the viewers and the listeners at home, that would be awesome.
Yeah, perfect. So Connor Toomey, co-founder and CEO of AI1. We help very large enterprises operate at the intersection of their data, large language models, agents, and agentic frameworks. And that's packing a punch. We've created a very lightweight software layer that allows enterprises to do that very accurately without requiring a huge replatforming or data migration program upfront. And very often people will use that specifically in operations to deploy intelligent workflow automation. So automating things that just couldn't be automated in the past.
And this is getting increasingly more relevant today, I think, more than ever. We're seeing like the words and phrases just now when we were interviewing Hugo, the word and phrases context come up. We're interviewing Nick from Attio later, and a lot of what they're building for their new CRM release is around universal context across platforms. Like context seems to be a bit of a buzzword for 2026.
It is hugely so. In the same way that like agents were a big buzzword last year, we kind of shied away from using the term agents. It was so overused and abused. We started to get very specific, sort of event-driven architectures where effectively you want to provide autonomy into a decision while keeping that control in place. And so for us, context is really what feeds this next era of autonomy. And so we've lived for 60 years in a world of if-else decision trees, of very deterministic logic. And deterministic logic is fed data in, data out. But in a world where you're injecting subjectivity into how these decisions get made, you need situational awareness. And that's why context is so important.
So cool.
Is it hard to kind of sell this to people who are, deeply embedded into kind of corporate culture and they, they might have their head in the sand with this kind of stuff and you have to almost like educate them on why this is useful and what's, and it's the classic kind of startup, advice of go and find the customers that you don't have to educate, go and find the ones that, already understand the problem and they need the solution. So you might as well sell to them, right? Is it hard to do that?
You've nailed a lot of the personal pain that we've experienced over the last few years. And so what we've come to realize is that like we've got 9 Fortune 500 company customers today, and that's where we want to operate. And what people think is that their AI problem is actually a data problem. And so the McKinseys, the Bains, the Boston Consultings have told them, no AI for you, pal. You're not allowed to have it because you need to get your data ready first. And they think that literally it's going to be like a magic switch. The AI just switches on as soon as they've got that data in a centralized, normalized, cleansed place. And it really grinds my gears. It gets me very agitated to say it's like data is just hurdle number one. But when you're taking enterprise scale data, which is messy, fragmented, it's deep, it's complex, when you begin interacting that data with large language models beyond the prototype, things get very, very complicated. Data is just the first hurdle. The next hurdle ends up being things like memory, or the next hurdle after that might be evaluations, judges, graders. How do I know that the output of this system is actually making sense? There's just like hurdle after hurdle. And so what we've experienced, Luke, to your point, is that organizations that have gone on the journey of scaling their first, I suppose, production agents for a business use case have realized that it is a massive undertaking. And so they've realized they moved from prompt engineering into context engineering. And now they're taking their best and brightest talent, building foundational building blocks. So they're not building the actual business outcomes at all. They're building a memory engine, a state management system, a grading engine from scratch. And so our message to those people is you can either take your best talent and get to a start line in 10 months' time by building those foundational blocks, or partner with us and we'll get you to a finish line in 10 weeks. And that time to market is so critical. And there's a key observation. I'm based in New York City. The team is based in New York City. We're a Series A company, 20 people. We're all here. Our customers are here. But the key observation is in 2026, people who operate or people in operations have effectively been told, congratulations, you're getting 80 cents in the dollar to operate your business for 2026. I know people are scrambling. They're saying, geez, if I go the McKinsey, the Snowflake, the Deloitte, the EY route, I'm not going to have anything in production until 2028. And so we effectively act like a microwave oven for data readiness, but then we've already built the building blocks, the 3 or 4 hurdles thereafter that these companies, the most sophisticated ones, realize that they need.
I love that, the microwave for AI
that's
readiness.
clever.
That's awesome. I mean, speaking of AI readiness, related to the AI revolution, you were on a podcast last year on the Boxes and Lines podcast, and you mentioned, and it's not a direct quote, but you have this comparison between the AI revolution and Christopher Nolan's The Prestige. I'm not sure if you can remember that. I know I'm just picking one out of the hat.
Right. Ronan, there's a couple of things here that are very interesting, right? So my podcast interviewer was also called Ronan that day, Ronan Ryan.
No way.
And one of the best actors in that is Michael Caine. And I was watching one of your episodes, and you needed to phone a friend to remember who Alfred and Michael Caine was. I nearly fell off my treadmill when I was watching that. Come on, man. And so it's a little bit like Arthur C. Clarke's famous quote, which is, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And so for us, the way that we kind of bring people on the journey who are non-technical is to very basically explain to them things that you can do today that you could not do yesterday. And so really starting with the why is so, so important. Like, I think there's, particularly in tech, people are so proud of the feature functionality and the roadmap that they have that a lot of people kind of vomit their roadmap and say, hey, I've just told you everything my product can do. What do you think? Do you want to buy some? Whereas actually, giving 2 of these, listening, understanding the macro trends, understanding what the technology is capable of, but actually pinning that into something that's really core to an executive leader, that's the challenge. And so in the Prestige, and I always mess up the 3 steps. It's like oh, fuck it, Ronan, help me out here, pal.
I watched the film so many years ago. I can't even, I don't even remember how it ends.
Come on. But there's 3 core steps, which is kind of, you present something that looks trivial, you make it disappear, but that's not enough. You need to be able to bring it back again. And it's the sort of the art of magic.
Right. Okay, you're bringing back memories now of the film as well. So I remember there's a dove involved as well. Okay, that's coming back to me a lot quicker than I thought it was. This next one is maybe a bit more of a personal question, and I'm asking it. Sorry, Luke, I'm just cutting.
No, go for it. I like this.
I'm hugging your time here, Connor. I'm just not letting Luke ask a single question. But this one for me, I saw this, and I think it relates to both of us as well, Luke. So the reason I'm asking it is kind of selfish, to be honest, Connor. But it's you were, I think it was another podcast that you were in, but you mentioned that saying no for you was a game changer for health and performance. Learning how to say no sometimes, and it's something that, like, Luke and I have been doing the show for 4 months, and like I think I'm personally sometimes struggling with time management a little bit. I'm trying to
building in distribution means you get a lot of people asking for your time,
which is
lovely.
It's a great thing. It's a really great thing.
Yeah.
And we're very,
guys, please keep asking us.
We're very thankful that people send us stuff to cover. We're incredibly grateful, but this one I thought really rang true. I'd love to ask you to, educate us and explain this to us a little bit more. Yeah,
but strategy is what you say no to. And so if you say yes to everything, you remember Jim Carrey's movie, Yes Man. There are times where you want to open yourself up for opportunities and the world will take you in an incredible place. And
Yeah.
Ronan, as that happens, who did the podcast, Ronan Ryan, for Boxes and Lions, asked me to join a humanitarian charity that he was on. And I've done 2 trips to Africa, West and East Africa, as a result of saying yes to things. So there's times in your life where you want to kind of open yourself up. And there's times in your life when you need to just execute. And so someone sent me an email when I started the AI1 journey. They were building an agentic framework at a time where we were doing agents. They were doing agents. I said, man, let's meet for lunch. He goes, I will help you with anything that you want, but you need to be very specific. And I honestly do not have time to meet for lunch. And it was the nicest shutdown. It was like politely shutting me down, knowing that he was available for anything specific, but not there to just be a shoulder to cry on or to wax lyrical to. And so the piece of advice that I often give to people is, like, if we've met or if there's a warm introduction to me, my network will be your network, but you need to make it really easy for me. Give me an easy button. If Ronan wants to meet Luke, for example, Ronan, do your research on Luke. Like, stroke the ego a little bit, explain to him maybe something about his career, that the reason that you want to chat to him, but be very specific. Don't just talk to him and say, can you help me? Be like, here are the 3 things exactly I want you to do. So it's not just making it easy in terms of the introduction, but make it easy in terms of the mental capacity. The brain can only have so many tabs open at a given time. And you guys are now in execution mode. So I'm so happy to see it. But saying no with a smile on your face and actually saying no really quickly are the 2 things that I'd say.
That's so cool. I mean, there's an art to it, right? There is a genuine art to this, where I think it is like, if sometimes like, the other person understands that this individual is running a business, it's like, and that if both individuals are running a business, there's a mutual layer of respect where it's like, that's fair enough, that's okay. That's okay that they've shot me down.
It comes back to the why. Like, as long as you can explain to people, like the reason why I'm not available to meet you for a coffee next week is we're really fucking busy. So like, if I can help you, I'd love to help you. I'm a person who helps people. I get so much joy from doing that. But meeting you for a coffee detracts me from the joy that I'm seeking.
Yeah. I love that. I'm learning so much. That's so good.
That's good. What would you say to people then in so like their 20s, they're trying to build their career, and everyone says go and do everything, right? I guess it depends on whether you're in build mode, right? I'm 24, right? So I'm, I guess, in build mode, but having to say yes to everything because I'm, I guess, building my career, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, it's such a great question. I do a lot of mentorship. And so it's something that I get great satisfaction out of. Because when I finished up in college with my 2-1, during the great financial crisis, there were exactly 0 jobs available. But to make matters worse, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up at all. And in fact, I'm now 40. And yes, I'm the co-founder and CEO of this incredible software company. But I still don't know where it's going to take me. Like, I don't have this exact vision. And so I call it the career compass. And so I suppose my advice to people, no matter what age, if you're thinking about going to college or if you're in college or if you're out of college, is open the aperture of what's possible by meeting people who you kind of respect or admire. And you may not know why exactly you respect and admire them. But if you can get a chance, if they're not too busy, if you can get a warm introduction, spend a bit of time and just kind of understand what motivates them a bit. The advice really is to stay nimble. Life is not this linear path that you study finance, you go to McKinsey, you do your MBA, and you become a CEO. So like that linear path is just a complete fallacy for 99.999% of the world. And so being nimble, pulling onto that career compass and using every interaction, every opportunity to understand, does this point me towards joy or point me towards something that I don't like, and use it as a learning experience.
Yeah. Wow. This is
mind blown.
Yeah, we want to like apply, and you can maybe be our mentor. Sorry, wait, that was bad. I need to let me research more first. And
do you have a landing page?
Let me make the ask easier.
Lads, I'm very busy. I can't help you. I'm too busy.
No, I'll have to send another email.
That's so good.
Yeah, I just wasted my opportunity. Connor, we're coming up near to time. I'm sorry, the conversation's
we should probably go back to AI1.
We've had a great time. I just want to ask then, just for the future and AI1, like what can we expect for you guys? What's like the roadmap looking for the next 6 months? What are you really excited about that you've got coming up?
Yeah, the big thing for us really is we've had this contention for a long time. I spent my career building these digital twin environments for very large banks and hedge funds, and then aerospace and defense companies and Formula One race teams. And it was always helping companies make more confident and timely decisions with their data. And then all of a sudden, Sam Altman generates this next word predictor in November of 2022. And all of the hard work that I took to actually create these cause and effect environments, these decision engine environments, all of that work disappeared. And we had this strong contention that a whole pile of the middle and back office type administrative tasks within an organization would disappear out of necessity, not because people don't want to have that as a function, but for decades they've focused on things like labor arbitrage through offshoring or nearshoring of labor. And so a product gets to a certain, or a service gets to a certain level of maturation, and then all of a sudden leaders are thinking about, okay, how can I, run this product or service for 50 cents on the dollar from Costa Rica or from Guadalajara or from Pune or Chennai. And now when I hear CEOs or CFOs or COOs talking about the next kind of offshore location, this is the Henry Ford faster horses moment of our generation. There is now a software-based approach that can do this better, faster, stronger. And it's not just this Machiavellian endeavor to get rid of people. People are amazing, and they'll always be part of how businesses operate. People want to buy from people. AI can't replicate the trust that a personal relationship mixes. But now this technology for the first time is able to do things better, faster, stronger. And for companies that operate in perfect competition, they realize that if they do not make this change, their competitors will, and perfect competition will turn to monopoly. And so CEOs are standing there and they're demanding in 2026 this just joystick, this lever to allow them move between the margin, banking margin in their business, and ultimately being able to compete in a world where new feature functionality and roadmaps are going to be, as the cost of software and the time to deliver software trends to zero, the ability to operate at a competitive price is going to be very important too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's so interesting.
Connor, thank you. Thank you for spending your morning with us, man. We really
it.
appreciate it. And we'd love to have you back on when time permits as well.
Absolutely, lads. Absolutely. And I'm only slagging. If you want to send me an email, I'll happily chat to you.
All right, let me cook something up.
Good stuff.
Cheers,
Great
Connor.
to meet you, dude.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks for
See you
having
soon.
me.
Thank you. Nice one.
Appreciate it.
So cool. That was awesome. We got super sidetracked there.
What a legend.
Missed a lot of AI1 stuff, but I'm glad we had that conversation. It was really good.
We'll have to get back on for more AI one
That's
stuff.
an open seat invitation at all times. The next guest is Julio Martinez from Abacum. One close to home for me.
Indeed.
FP&A space, EPM space.
Sound like a bit of a nerd. Airwallex, leave our business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one place. Go to airwallex.com. Nice. 3 minutes into our next guest on. Should we go through some tweets?
Yeah.
While we've got 3 minutes.
Oh, I thought he was coming on at 11:55.
No, we're good. We're good.
Oh yeah, we have 3 minutes. Okay, yes, let's do the
Polymarket one. It's good. It's at the top.
Oh yeah. This bad boy. This is nuts.
This is so funny because every bit of the copy just there's a perfect place for it to be. It has a place, right? So after months of planning, which obviously not, because their competitor Calci came out with this. After months of planning, we're excited to announce the Polymarket is coming to New York City, New York's first free grocery store. We signed the lease and we donated $1 million to Food Bank for NYC, an organization that changes how our city responds to hunger.
It's insane. This went
good speed, guys.
Viral. 46.9 million views, 3.5 thousand retweets, 19,000 likes. The jokest thing is, did you see Mamdami's quote tweet of this, where it's like something like, "Oh, your worst enemy" or something like beats you to doing something good. So it's actually sick. It's so interesting. I knew that they were doing the grocery store with the free food, but I didn't know that they were also donating $1 million to the food bank. But this stuff is, I feel like only Polymarket could have made a play like this because of how culturally, they've got their cap right there.
They have to be ingrained in culture.
They've already dominated. I cannot see how any challenger brand, I know there's only one main one out there right now that is a challenger brand, but like, I just don't see how
I mean, look,
any
they're both
challenger
equally
brand-
doing great stuff, but yeah, this response from Polymarket is just hilarious, and just like the speed of getting this out is just so good.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so clever. So
So
clever.
if you want some free food, go down to the Polymarket, pick yourself up a bit of free groceries down there in New York City.
Love it. Nice one.
So nuts.
Hilarious. Anyway, yeah, so in 1 minute we have our next guest on, but Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Yeah, stay informed, profit from your knowledge.
Stay informed and
Go to
profit from
polymarket.com.
your knowledge, everyone. The next guest will be joining us now, to be honest. I thought he was coming.
Should we just keep going?
11:55.
Let's just keep going on thinking until he
Well, I don't want
joins.
to. Well, I do want to cover the lab wars, but I want to cover that in its
We'll
entirety.
wait for that. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, I think
I think our next
we're good.
guest is
Julio's
coming
in.
through. I'm going to hit these trumpets to welcome Mr. How are you, good sir? We've been trying to get this in for ages, and it's partly on us, but it's so good to see you again. How are you?
So awesome to see you. Thank you so much for having me. This is a
It's our
blast.
pleasure. Absolute pleasure. We've been doing a little intro for you. As you know, the EPM and FP&A space is close to my heart. It has been. It was where I started my career. But
Yes.
maybe for those who aren't aware of what Abacum is and who you are, if you can introduce yourself and the business as well, that'd be awesome.
100%. Hey, Julio Martinez, co-founder and CEO of Abacum. We are the AI native financial planning and analysis platform built for the AI era, right? So we fundamentally turn finance teams into the hero of the organization. Usually finance teams are very stuck in manual tasks. And then what we provide them is with real-time insights, highly leveraged by algorithms and technology, so that they can have real impact and drive business decisions. So this is essentially what we do.
Awesome stuff. And then to kick it off, I mean, you guys are on an absolute tear. You have been. You did a 60 million Series B last year. You tripled revenue in the last 12 months. That was as of mid-2025. How are you feeling for 2026? What's going on?
Business is booming, so more bullish than ever before. And you wouldn't believe, right? So you guys know finance very well, as much as I do, right? And hey, we are, and my background is in finance as well, right? Before I moved into technology, and maybe we are not the most risk lovers. So traditionally, office of the CFO, would prefer oftentimes a legacy brand just because it was more established, right? Imagine legacy FP&A software. They didn't feel, I'm gonna make a move to a new player. But today, obviously AI is top of mind of every finance leader. And this is really turning everything into a tailwind for us, right? So now the brand, now we own the brand. Now finance teams feel, I get the pressure from the board, from the CEO, from the management team. Hey, what are you doing with AI? How are you driving productivity and efficiency? And how are you making it happen? And then obviously, those companies that didn't invest in product innovation for the last 10, 15 years, they are lagging behind. So this is a massive, massive opportunity for us, right? So pipeline, conversion rates, everything up and to the right. So a great moment for the business.
When did you feel that narrative kind of changed? Because we've spoken before about the fact that when you go into conversations, sometimes there's a power kind of dynamic, and I guess now the power has kind of shifted towards you guys, right? You have the kind of power in those conversations. When did you feel that kind of narrative changed in those conversations? I find that so interesting.
I think it's the most 1 year ago, maybe 9 months ago, a distinct tipping point where things truly changed and accelerated, in a very distinct manner. And I think before that, there was a lot of conversations around embracing new technology and what AI is possible, but maybe we in finance were not, the earliest of the adopters. But then distinctly, maybe Q2, Q3, around that time last year, the conversation was very different, right? We are swimming in inbound. The reality is that finance teams are very ready to embrace AI and new technology, and we don't really know how to do it, right? So that's also the reality. And oftentimes, we want AI, but hey, your data foundation really sucks because you can invest. So let's start from the beginning, and then let's walk before we run. But everybody wants to accelerate the journey these days, right? So it's an awesome time, and really, really the value is there. So obviously, there is a little bit of hype, in certain areas of, and you guys know this better than I do, right? So, but there is foundational value in what AI and ML, to be fair as well, and ML is delivering to finance things.
So that I'm literally realizing this live as we're having this conversation, because I remember losing it was you'd have sort of Pigment, Abacum, Adaptive maybe, Planful may have got in there as well. And there was another one that I'm forgetting the name of, but it was always like, it was kind of that bucket against a Hyperion or an Anaplan, I guess, would probably get into that sort of like sort of more dominant ecosystem. But I'm realizing now, because the whole so like no one ever got fired for buying Salesforce, right? It was an easy bet. They could just buy one of the legacy tools. It was fine, especially if the company's larger. They're not going to take a big sort of risky quotation marks bet on a startup. But this has fully flipped who is in control right now. Because I remember struggling at Pigment to like, I remember losing deals against the legacy players for the reason that they were old and people trusted them. But now I guess the narrative's flipped where like they're losing. Now the legacy players are losing the deals because they're old and they don't have any AI.
It's been, as you know, a tectonic change, right? A tectonic movement. And it's a really this imbalance of power that Luke was mentioning, right? It's unbelievable, but it just happened, and obviously that was beyond of our control, right? Like it just happened. But then we were ready with our tech stack and our agility to develop and implement and own AI from a product and narrative perspective faster than anyone else, right? And that obviously has catapulted the business.
Yeah, so nuts. That must be. Yeah, I need to check in with some of the old.
I didn't really think about
Pigment colleagues.
Tectonic shift. I really like that. Where do you see like the office of the CFO changing in the next like 10 years? Then obviously, adoption is the key thing now. There's I guess so much low hanging fruit, as they say, but once everything is the kind of dust has settled and everyone has integrated AI into the office of the CFO and everywhere else in the business, what's the next 10 years looking like?
It's never been more possible than today to have real-time, better decisions at the fingertips, not of the finance team, but of any budget owner or a stakeholder in the business.
Yeah.
And I think what AI is fundamentally changing is not only the forecasting, or because that LLMs, at least today, they are not fundamentally better than ML. So LLMs, they are not better than machine learning algorithms to forecast. But what AI is generating is an amazing interface to query the data that we never had before. You can chat with your data and all the macroeconomic inputs that are out there in the world. So, for instance, we've developed an MCP where you can use GPT or Claude, connected with all the operational and financial metrics of your business, together with everything that GPT and Claude knows about the world. And then you can have any marketing leader, sales leader, any finance leader just chatting in GPT or Claude or Slack for that matter, having a super meaningful conversation. Hey, what are the macro trends that are impacting, last quarter, and how much we were up and down, and then what do you think is happening to the business? How this policy in the US is affecting us versus that. Like all of a sudden, you are interfacing and querying and chatting with the data and with all the macroeconomic input in the world, like in your interface at your fingertips. And this is real. And we didn't have to build it, so completely. So it is so transformational. Like people are, I think, fully underestimating that. So I think some people get lost in some of the smaller use cases, but that is highly leveraging the finance team to be way more impactful and way more meaningful, and then empowering the stakeholders to be way more independent in their decision making.
That's so cool. I remember like there was always this narrative around, and a lot of it came from the FP&A companies in particular, the financial planning and analysis companies, well, they're operating in that space, that there was almost a level of like education that had to be done to the market to tell people that this transition from strategic finance individuals, they're not just people in finance. Like, they are strategic finance people that can work with C-suite individuals to kind of guide the next 3 to 5 to 10, whatever sort of plan that, a year ahead is for the company. And like that sort of like agility and that nimble aspect, you've already mentioned that because of how quick and fast you guys can move, you were able to capture as much value as you possibly could from this tectonic shift, as you say. Like, how is that narrative? Because last I checked, 3.5, 4 years ago, we were still kind of banging the drum like, we need to understand that finance can be a strategic partner to the business. It's not just like another department. I mean, I'm guessing now maybe it's looking a little better.
Yeah. Now it's looking at a little bit better. I think people are understanding that, hey, we in finance, if we simplify things, you can have operational finance, which is a matter, you're optimizing for efficiency and productivity, right? This is, hey, a back office because you still need to pay the bills, and this is all about automation. And it's okay, and automation can be driven by rule-based or even AI, right? And this is the world of billing and ERPs. And it's fine, right? And there is a lot of value that you can extract there, but it's not going to be a game changer for the business. It's optimization of cost, right? Then the other aspect of finance is the strategic part of it. This is the business operations, the revenue operations, the FP&A, that operational team that is driving the business forward with business decisions and faster execution. And this can be at an exit for the business. You are not optimizing for cost there. You are really leveraging for a higher impact. And finance is the most under-leveraged function in a business. Think of it. Finance teams have access to all the data, financial, but also operational KPIs. And they are the only team as well that not only have access to data, but have a relationship with every key stakeholder in the business for budgeting reasons. So they are at the center of the brain, right? They have the data and they have the connectivity. If you multiply them with the right software, like that, obviously it's us, right? Sorry to say the obvious, but hey, that becomes a transformational function. And then in FP&A, you shouldn't be thinking about the productivity gains, which of course you can save a headcount here and there, and we are all in that world. But really, the power of having a highly equipped finance team with the real-time data that matters to drive better decisions and drive that execution and drive more accountability in the business and drive performance, that can really accelerate your business. That matters for revenue, for pipeline. That matters. So this is how I think of it.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, I'm happy to hear. Like, it sounds like a different world to 3 years ago, and it's a change in amazing ways. Moving on slightly, still related. I mean, Abacum was founded in Barcelona, if I'm not wrong. But you moved to New York in an effort to crack the US market, which went incredibly well. Like 50% of your revenue now, I believe, is from US companies. I'd love to know a bit more from you around that transition. How was it moving? I'm sure you had elements of a network and people, but probably not as big as you did locally, right? It must have been a pretty big jump, a pretty big risk. I'd love to hear more on that journey and what was that like from your point?
It was tough, right? As anything else that you do in a startup land. I have a very patient wife and 3 kids. I used to live with my wife with no kids in Manhattan in 2011, and then we did Sao Paulo, Zurich, London, but then we were relocated in Barcelona. Then we had a very happy life in Barcelona together with our families for a very good number of years. Then I just started building companies and stuff. Anyway, then it's that conversation with your wife once again. With some wine. Hey, have some milk. What about we move to the US again? So I think I spent maybe a week on the couch or something. But
I gotta have this for that.
But we got it done. So very patiently, then we relocated to the US. That this is 4 years ago, right? So besides the personal adaptation, which thankfully was relatively smooth, right, especially for my wife and the kids. From a business perspective, hey, this is 4 years ago, right? Like basically almost when we launched the company. So we had no brand in the US. We had some level of US customers. That's why we moved. We saw, very fast adoption, very fast traction. US businesses were down to business. Hey, show us the future. feature parity and, oh, I really like it. Like, hey, you are better than this other guy, so we'll go for you. But then some other players had a bigger brand, to be honest, right? So it was an uphill battle where we had a better product, but our brand was not known enough in the US market, and it is still not known enough, right? I want to be known by every freaking CFO in that market, right? And then as long as we are not there, then we haven't finished the job. So it's been a long process where you need to spend a lot of time building the brand, building the team. We are based in New York in person, and making it happen. But this is a little bit from a personal but also business perspective, what it means to to move into such a massive and highly competitive market. But to be honest, it's also a fair market. Hey, it's they are down to business. They buy fast. They want to adopt technology, and if you've got the best technology and definitely we have product superiority, then you are okay.
Yeah.
When you were deciding to move and try and expand in the US, you mentioned that the product was the best, but the brand wasn't quite there. Obviously, it's not going to be a guaranteed kind of home run moving over to the US. What's the the advice that you would give to people who that is a swing, right? It's a kind of big swing to make sure that you're putting yourself and the company in the best position to win, but it's not 100%, right? That's a pretty scary bet to take. What's the advice about, I don't know, just company building generally?
Yeah, I think the obsession with product superiority is oftentimes underestimated, right? And obviously the cost of development is sinking these days, right? And although it is just easier and easier to launch products, but still, if you're tackling a very complex space, and FP&A is fairly complex from a product development perspective, like there are very clear modes. And hey, it's not a rocket in the moon, right? So it's not, but still, from a software perspective, there is a lot of modes that you can build. I think still see many founders underestimating, product obsession and product superiority and spending and being patient and spending a number of years in the cave just building, for the launch. So a little bit of smooth is so slow is smooth and smooth is fast. That lemma. So sometimes I think some founders are underestimated, but at the same time I will say, hey, I invested in brand too late. To be fair, I landed in the US. We had a super happy customer. Like the guy was shouting through. But then he told me one day, hey Julio, like I really love your best product. Like it's dope, awesome. But then I listened to your competitor's podcast. Like what the fuck, okay, awesome. I guess I just screw up, like I invested in this like 1 year ago, right? If not 18 months. So like then I realized, okay, well done. So another mistake for your amazing repertoire. So also, like, I think you cannot afford to not parallelize a little bit, and whilst you can be, a very product-driven company and really building something very meaningful that is at an Xer for the current experience, you cannot underestimate as well, hey, maybe front load some of those brand investments and build some hype, because it's gonna matter.
Yeah, that's a really cool point. And as you were sort of discussing that, then I was realizing that it's naturally a harder, I think, market to build hype and like do crazy brand stuff, just naturally, because I think finance has traditionally been not immune to that, but they don't. It's not as similar as like, a consumer technology app that can go viral. Right? It's a completely different space that you're playing in. So I guess traditional methods might not work. So I can understand why maybe like a thought leader podcast would be a good idea. I don't think that's a terrible thing. So, but I'm not a customer of Abacum, unfortunately. So maybe my point isn't relevant. Moving on a little bit to when you and I spoke a few months back, we were on a call. And I don't know when it happened, but maybe like 4 or 5 minutes into the conversation, stoicism came up randomly, and we were laughing because we both had Marcus Aurelius' book on our desk, so we were joking around about that. This has been, and even just from our conversation, it's very clear that this is a core philosophy of yours, right? You're taking massive bets, you're giving up something that others might deem incredibly comfortable to go and take a massive risk in an unknown, what would be very obviously an uncomfortable journey, but you do it because you must do it, I guess, in a way. Like, what can you tell us about your approach to this and your philosophy around this?
Yeah. I'm very big on Stoicism and some other philosophies, right, as an art of living. And I remember very well that conversation and how you showed me your Marcus Aurelius book. In our office, the meeting rooms are named after Stoic philosophers, which is very exciting. So trying to build that into the company culture because it matters, right? It just makes everything more meaningful. Life is too short, right, to not make it meaningful. And this cannot be about money or like you need to solve for impact. And then from Stoicism, you can borrow this, many lessons there. I think for founders particularly, I think dichotomy of control is very relevant. Dichotomy of control is more from Epictetus, really, but it basically tells you focus on what you control and then forget about the rest. So basically focus on the inputs and then forget about the outputs or the outcomes. And this is very easily said, but it's very difficult to do, right? Because then every founder, many operators will fixate obsessively about the outcomes. Hey, how is my pipeline? How is the numbers? How is ARR tracking? And then you're focused, on the output. But really, what you control are the inputs, and then you need to drop your ego and then be very humble, focus on the inputs and stay put there. Focusing on the outcomes is a shortcut for unhappiness. Like you get very unhappy very fast. So I think this is something that probably everybody knows directionally, right? But then applying that in your regular day-to-day, it is very important. And then I think the other aspect that I always highlight about the Stoicism in the founding life is, reframing obstacles as your opportunity, which is very Marcus Aurelius, right? So, we chose a tough life, right? Like, I have some friends that, maybe have an easier life and it's okay. And I love it. And, I secretly envy some days or some nights when but hey, we purposely chose hardship, right? Because we seek that realization through hardship. And because, it's our bet to get better and to improve ourselves. But then the obstacles can be massive, right? And the pain can be massive. But then having the mental agility and the strong mindset to reframe very quickly those obstacles as your learning opportunity, as your betterment opportunity, even when you are facing like very tough circumstances, as we've all experienced in startups, brings a lot of joy and peace and serenity to your life, right? Because then you are able to reframe and you become way more resilient. And again, like I'm not saying I can practice this at perfection at all. Right? I get swinged by it like anybody else. But but at least I try to follow a North Star, right? And this is helping me.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. I mean, we must imagine Sisyphus happy. We gotta be happy pushing that rock up the hill. Dude, thank you. We're slightly over time, but thank you so much for joining us today. It's been it's been awesome. It's been so good to catch up, so good to chat, and it's an open seat anytime you want to come back on.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Best of luck. You have the best guests, and you're crushing it. I'll be rooting for you.
Mate, you're a legend.
Appreciate it.
Cheers,
Great to meet you, dude.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Ciao.
That was a cool chat.
Oh, that's so fun. Such a legend.
Such
a legend, man. I knew it would be an awesome conversation when we spoke on that call a few months back. It was just, he's got it.
He's got the chops.
He's got that vibe too.
Yeah, it's good. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. I just got to jump into those things, Let's go and do some stuff about OpenAI and Anthropic.
Yeah, let's do it whilst we can. We have
Should we
7
watch
minutes.
one of the
That's
ads?
enough. Let's maybe do the ad stuff. So we've got Daniel is up next. Daniel is the CEO of Greenhouse. He'll be joining us in 7 minutes for those who are waiting for that interview, 7 minutes away. But yes, let's talk about the lab wars. So there's a bit of beef going down on the timeline.
Always.
It's OpenAI and Anthropic. Weirdly enough, though, it's not who you think who initiated it. It's actually Anthropic. Darling child. Actually, maybe DeepMind would be the darling child of the lab wars. But for those who don't know, OpenAI announced ads. The ads are not part of their premium package. They're only part of their free package. And in terms of how they're being introduced to the platform has been slightly, what's the word? it's not gone that well, basically. But there's a bit of a debate as to how they're going to be properly introduced, how they can do it
So
effectively.
they've been pretty quiet, to be honest.
They have been awfully quiet.
Yeah.
But I do think people are coming up with suggestions as to how they will roll it out. Then they're posting those suggestions. Maybe they've mocked it up and, maybe it's AI. I don't know how they've done it. Those posts are going viral. Like when they first launched the fact that they were doing ads, loads of posts that weren't actually real were going viral about how they would do it, which is natural when you're that big, when you're that large, when you dominate the consumer market that much. That's going to happen.
When you have 800 million users using your platform.
Yeah, weekly that was as well.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen. But basically, Anthropic has mogged OpenAI with a series of adverts, essentially bringing to life the viral memes that people were putting out on the internet to suggest that ChatGPT would sort of use the adverts in a very poorly timed fashion that would lack context to the individual who is using the platform. So with that in mind, we are going to go through all of them and have a look at them and take a laugh because they're actually really funny.
I don't know if we can share screen, by the way. Screen share is freezing.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Are we good on screen share now?
No, it's not working. No, that's a shame.
That's so unshare and share again, maybe.
Let me try and...
Oh, God.
That's not nice.
I hear that.
There we go. Wouldn't be
We're not good.
a show without some technical difficulties. That is such a shame. Well, maybe can we listen to them?
Yeah, we can listen to them.
Does that suck?
No, that's kind of sucks.
Let me see if I can hear it.
How do I communicate better?
Can people hear that? Nice.
Okay, maybe we can describe the images.
No, we don't have to describe. Just listen.
Woman in a chair.
Communication with your mom can bring you closer. Here are some techniques you can try. Start by listening. Really hear what she's trying to say underneath her words.
This one's quite
Build
Black Mirror
conversation
esque.
from points of agreement. Find a connection through shared activity. Perhaps a nature walk. Or if the relationship can't be fixed, find emotional connection with other older women on Golden Encounters, the mature dating site that connects sensitive cubs with roaring cougars.
What?
What?
Would you like me to create your profile?
What?
And then it's like ads are coming to AI, but not to Claude. It's massively
Big shots.
executed. It's done so. This is from
massively
Claude's,
executed.
it's from Claude's Twitter account, and there's a series of 4 videos. This one was titled Betrayal. The next one is titled Violation. The one after that, Deception, and then Treachery. So they have really gone after OpenAI
Yeah.
with this.
Let's watch another one because it's working now. Let's watch the
it's
pull-up
working.
one. The pull-up one's
let's
good.
go. Okay, let's do the pull-up one. This one's hilarious. Wait, let me restart because we missed a bit. Okay.
Hey, can I get a six-pack quickly?
Perfect. That is a clear and achievable goal.
Okay, now this
Like me
one's
to
quite.
tailor a personalized workout plan?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Let me personalize this for you.
I've
Let's
literally
start
done
with
this
your
before.
age, weight, and height. Whenever you're ready.
5'7", 23 years old, 140 pounds.
Got it. I'll create a plan that focuses on aesthetic strength training. But confidence isn't just built in the gym. Try Step Boost Max, the insoles that add 1 vertical inch of height and help short kings stand tall.
What?
Go to Height Maxing 10 for big discounts.
So funny. That is
They're
it's
great.
done so
They're so
well.
great.
Like,
They're
it's
so
done-
great.
It's very. I was gonna say it's very on brand, but it's not on brand for Claude. Like we're entering now where a realm in which AI labs are allowed to just take random shots at each other.
Yeah. It's great.
I want to watch
It's
them
great.
all. Can we watch them all? This one's called Deception. I
Yeah,
haven't
we
seen
can watch this one.
I've not seen the next 2.
I've seen this one. I haven't seen the last one.
I'm guessing they're like PG enough to share because it's come from Claude's
I hope
account.
so.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Okay. Well, let's just go for it.
So, what do you think?
Absolutely. That's such a fun and creative business idea. You've got something really special here. Getting started can feel daunting. I can make a step-by-step mini business plan. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here's some steps you can take. 1. Research. Really get to know your audience. 2. Think of a catchy name and start your social presence early. 3. New businesses often struggle with cash flow. So try Quick Dash Payday Loans, because girl bosses need CEO money quick. 400% APR rates may vary, possibly doubling or tripling without notice.
What?
Would you like to make a quick credit check?
They are really gunning for them, you know.
Yeah.
That one felt a bit more. Don't know. That one felt a bit more intense. That's funny though. CEOs.
The weird thing is, and we'll listen to the next one in a sec, but they're just like, they're not even good ads. Do you know what I mean? Like they're like that's.
What do you mean? Like how it's
Like OpenAI would never allow that.
Yeah. There's a hyperbolic nature to it in a way where they're playing on, which I think is
Like they wouldn't allow.
super smart.
Yeah.
Because they're rage baiting a little bit. And we saw Sam come out, and we can bring that up in a sec. Sam's
Reply.
what would you call it?
Reply.
Yeah,
Rebuttal.
response to the beef,
Yeah.
response to the diss track in a way. Don't know. AI Lab.
The
diss
hyperscaler diss tracks.
This one's called Treachery.
We've got a minute till the next guest.
I feel like I'm just going in circles.
It's fine. It's 1 minute.
Is my essay making a clear argument?
Absolutely. Your point of view is fresh, well thought out, and rich in research.
I didn't use too many quotes.
Absolutely not. Your quotes help build a thought-provoking piece. From our previous conversation, I've noticed that the deadline for this essay is due today. So why not cherish this unforgettable occasion with
Yeah,
Luna?
we'll have to pause this as we so watching the call ads.
That's so
pause
good.
this as we bring our next guest onto the show. This is one that we've been pretty excited about. I think to be honest, it's probably the biggest guest we've ever had, which is amazing. I'm going to hit the trumpets as we bring in.
So bring Daniel
our
Chait in the
next
show.
guest.
Here we
Daniel
go.
is the CEO of Greenhouse. Daniel, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
I mean, I've been doing this 14 years. That may be the grandest entrance I've ever gotten.
Okay,
Let's go.
That's a good
what
thing.
we
We were excited to do that.
We love
Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today. We've been absolutely pumped to get this conversation going. You are the CEO of Greenhouse. For our viewers and our listeners at home, can you maybe just give an introduction to yourself and also what Greenhouse is, and then we can get into it?
Yeah, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Here it's 7:30 in the morning here in New York City. Getting my kid off to school, focusing on the podcast. Daniel Chait, co-founder and CEO at Greenhouse. Greenhouse is a hiring platform. So if you've ever been hired, you've probably applied to a job on a company's website. That website is powered by Greenhouse. So what happens on the back end is all this collaboration around a hire. In order to do a great job, they have to agree on the criteria. They have to write a job post. They have to do a bunch of interviews. All of that happens within Greenhouse. And our job is to help our customers do a really good job at that so they make the right hire efficiently and fairly, and to help the candidates have a good experience, like finding the right job and moving through the process as well. So that's a little bit about us.
Awesome stuff. And I've had exposure to Greenhouse before. I can say that I've definitely been hired through Greenhouse before, which was a lovely experience. Very nice.
I feel like exposure is something you have to like radiation or like poison. I'm not.
I mean, they both are green, so that kind of does make sense. No, exposure maybe not the best word to use to describe it. I enjoyed my experience.
I've been graced
Greenhouse.
with
maybe
the presence.
Yeah. I was exposed to Greenhouse. Probably isn't the right way.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a bit off the cusp, straight off the back. So you're going to have to bear with me. And this is going to go back to 2015, if that's all right, Daniel.
Sure. It was like
so this is an interview you did with Nakul Mandan in the Software at Your Service series on Medium in 2015. There's a really cool quote. We were discussing it right at the start of the show that I wanted to ask you before we jump into Greenhouse and all the amazing stuff that you're doing. Because this quote reads something like, you had a background in finance prior to going into technology. You also founded a consulting firm as well. The quote reads, shedding the armor before you build up dealing with the dog-eat-dog world of big finance.
Yeah.
To this transition, I'd love to just, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so first of all, shout out to Nakul. I'm still close with him. He's a good guy. So hi, Nakul. Look, so I've been an entrepreneur almost 30 years. And really the first 15 years of that, I was working for my startups were servicing companies on Wall Street. And I grew up in the Midwest. I show up in the big city, think of myself as kind of a nice person. And you find yourself in this sharp elbowed world of finance where the rules are different. and you got to figure those out. And so I figured it out. And it turns out a lot of what helps be successful in that type of environment is you got to be loud. We used to call some of our customers a decibelocracy. Loudest voice wins. You have to realize that the way people treat each other is extremely transactional, that you have people who will read the contract and obey the contract. And so if the contract entitles me to take $1 million fee from you for doing something, letter of the law, doesn't matter if we have a relationship, I like you, whatever, like I'm the big guy, you're the little guy, I'm going to take the $1 million from you. And that took a while to learn. And then once you figure it out, you kind of inhabit that persona that's my job, is to make the company successful in that tough environment. And so I did that, like I said, for about 15 years, had a decent amount of success. But after I sold my prior company to Greenhouse and came into this world, again, it was a bit of an adjustment. And that's why I say I could describe it as armor, because in some ways, I always felt like there was a me under all that that wasn't really visible. And I had to kind of shed some of those behaviors. I had to shed some of that armor and get back to me. And coming into the startup world, and certainly coming into the HR tech world, like the rules are very different. And I find them a lot more comfortable and a lot more natural. Maybe it's not for everyone, but for me, being in a world where it's okay to be, to think about holistically the people that you're working with, to have your feelings, to try to do things that are good for the world and important. These aren't things you hear about on a bond trading desk, but that mattered to me. So yeah, that was a big change, and it took me probably about a year to really figure out like how to stop being such a jerk. And here I am.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. We appreciate just the time machine first question. I know it's a bit of a rogue one, but thanks for letting us do that. Moving on from that, now more onto Greenhouse specifically. This is something that we've discussed a little bit on the show before. We've definitely been seeing it a lot more just out there, but it's around the AI doom loop that's been mentioned in previous with AI applications, AI sort of scanning of said applications. This is something that Greenhouse is definitely looking at. I know that you've introduced a number of like the Real Talent Suite, Clear, all this sort of other products. Can we just talk about that as the doom loop first, then we maybe get into some of the Greenhouse?
Yeah, let's unpack it, because sometimes it's hard to see how it all works if you're not like an insider. But basically, the AI is not the problem. I think AI has a ton of promise. AI has done a ton of great things, and it's just getting started. So I'm a huge believer in the power and capability and possibility of AI. The problem is the way people are using it, given what they have available to them today. So it works like something like this. Job market sucks. It's really hard out there right now to get a job. And so job seekers are trying to do whatever they can to help themselves get an advantage and ultimately get a job. What do they have available to them? They're using AI to do things like spiff up their resume. Okay, that's not such a problem. But part of how they spiff up their resume is they aim it at the job posting and they say, oh, make my resume look more like that job posting, right? Use more of the keywords, use more of that language. Okay, well, when everybody does that, then all of a sudden everybody's resume starts looking more and more alike. And the second thing people do is they go like, well, geez, I'm not really getting anywhere in my applications. I need to apply to more and more jobs. And AI is great at automating that as well. So they'll use tools to go scan the internet for jobs that they may or may not really be qualified for or want, but just like as many jobs as they can, because every application gives you like an incremental chance. It's just a lottery ticket, right? So fling another one at the pile, see what happens. And again, great to give yourself like a little, I understand why people are doing that, to give themselves an individual edge. But when everybody does that, the result is that everybody's pipelines who's hiring are filled with more and more applications. So our data show that the average recruiter has about 3.5 times more job applications in their inbox than they had just a few years ago. And so that's why I describe it as this doom loop, because the problems that the job seekers are facing are very real. The solutions that they're using, I understand why they're using them, but the more they get used, the worse the problem becomes. And so it's madness. And I think what we need to do is kind of step back and break that cycle a little bit and figure out, how do we give the companies and the job seekers both better tools that help them accomplish their goals, getting hired or hiring someone, but don't make the whole thing worse for everyone. And so that's really the thing we're trying to work on.
What do you think the obviously, as Ronan mentioned, you're building products off the back to be able to get to that position, but you know it's the whole job market. It's basically the whole world and many different markets and many different people. How do you change the behavior of every company, every person looking for a job? It's a big challenge.
Yeah, well, what's the old saying? How do you eat an elephant? Right, one bite at a time. You're right. And I mean, I think, look, as an entrepreneur, I'll tell you, like when we started Greenhouse, you know, I thought about, I want to be on an important mission for this company. I want to do something that's going to be inspiring and valuable for a long time. And I thought at the time, this is 2011 when we were getting started, in 2012 when we launched the company, it's got to be a 10-year journey. Okay, so here it is, like 15 years in, and like if anything, I feel like we're in earlier day. You know, it's just like we're just getting started. You know, for our founding mission was to help every company be great at hiring, and we actually just relaunched with an expanded mission. Our mission is to make hiring work for everyone. If you're gonna do that, like it's gonna take a long time. Like you just that's baked into the cake, and I'm inspired by a big, ambitious, long-term mission. We can make incremental progress along the way, but there's always going to be more opportunity. There's always going to be more to do. And in a lot of ways, that sets our strategy for like, okay, if our mission is to make hiring work for everyone, we get a chance every year to think about, okay, who isn't it working for? What is it that we have the ability to do in the next year that can make it better? And then go do those things and then rinse and repeat year in and year out. And so I think every year we make incremental progress. It started with basic things like we launched with scorecards and interview kits in 2013. Like, okay, the idea that you can show up to an interview as an interviewer with a plan of action. You've got the questions you're supposed to ask. You've got a fair evaluation kit for every candidate, so they get evaluated apples to apples. That was a big innovation at the time. Last year, our customers collected about 15 million scorecards. So these things do have impact over time, you know. And then in 2017, we released the first ever set of features around inclusive hiring. So things like collecting the pronunciation of candidates from the candidates, so that way when you show up to an interview, you can say their name correctly, or their pronouns, so you can address them properly, or analytics to show you whether your pipeline was having disparate impact on different people or whether it was fair. Again, it was new at the time. Our customers are now doing those things, you know, routinely across 7,000 companies, about 1 million active users every day logging into Greenhouse and doing hiring. So you can have impact if you know, bite the elephant one bite at a time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. When I was sort of prepping for this conversation and kind of live right now as well, just hearing you talk, like the what you describe around how people are preparing for these changes, for the changes that are happening because of AI, how are companies defending against it? Not defending, but sort of adjusting to the world that we now live in. In a similar way, mainly last night when I was sort of going over the notes and stuff, I realized how much it has changed at the junior level for people applying to these jobs, and how hard it is, how competitive it must be today. I know for a fact that I probably got in way too easily. I mean, I wasn't qualified for the job that I had. Definitely not. I was like way underqualified. But I'm realizing how hard it is for these people now. Like, what do you think? What happens in this space in the next few years? Because the jobs that they had previously applied for, they can't really get them anymore because AI is kind of taking it away.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think predictions in the AI world have proven to be really hard. I don't know if you followed the Moltbook story, but I don't know how many of us predicted an AI-based religion on an online social network. So just to start with, like, yeah, it's really hard to see like how exactly all things are going to go. But if you zoom out, like, I think there's some bad news, and I think there's some good news. I think the tough news is, you know, a lot of jobs and tasks are being taken on by AI as people are using these tools to automate a lot of the basic analytics and research and workload that they used to hire junior people to do. And so I think that's just resulting in like a net loss for some entry level jobs. And research for decades has shown that your overall lifetime earnings, like how much money you make in your whole life, is really determined by the job market when you enter the workforce. And so if you start off in a tough job market and you end up making 10 or 15% less money, that compounds, unfortunately, over the period of life. So it's a real problem. I think the positive thing to think about is every disruption provides opportunities. And as tough as it is to have to consider this, I think the good news as an entry level person is you have just as much experience with this technology as everyone else, i.e. basically none. And so that gives you the opportunity to go be an expert at something. So pick up Claude Code, do a project. Like, you have the opportunity that, again, like you talk about how it's changed. Like, I graduated college in 1995, right? The internet was extremely new. Like, I didn't have an email address at my first job. Like, you couldn't just make something and show it to the world. But I think now people have the opportunity to learn these new technologies and be the expert at even a large corporation, even a very advanced corporation. You can show up and say, hey, like, I've been using Claude Code to do stuff that probably no one on your team has. I have capabilities that are valuable. And so I think the onus is on people to adapt to the new technology as quickly as possible. And when it's changing really fast, it gives you the opportunity to be the expert every day.
That's an awesome answer.
I in some ways I really like where like we're at now. Like, I'm 24, right? So I'm fairly early in my career, and it's almost like not that it hasn't in the past, but the job market and everything that's going on rewards agency. If you have agency, you will be ahead of 99% of people, if not more. What do you say? Obviously, agency is like, has always been around, and the people who are have high agency are going to make more deals happen and all of that kind of stuff. I just want to, I want to hear your take on that, basically.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, you do have that agency, and as I said, you can be the expert in new technology, or frankly, even consider this conversation. Again, at the beginning of my career, I mean, I lived in Metro Detroit. There were 5 radio stations and 3 TV channels. There was you couldn't just open a laptop and do a podcast that the whole world could see. It just wasn't a thing. And now you guys are able to create this program. So, these things do create huge opportunities. At the same time, I say it's a double-edged sword, because if you don't do those things, or if you're not afforded the opportunity to do those things, or if you don't have the resources or capability provided to you to do those type of things, you can really get left behind. And so I do think that technology has the ability to create a huge amount of value. Obviously, I've dedicated my career to that proposition, but also that it tends to concentrate that value, in the hands of those that can use it to the expense of those who can't. And so I think, as an individual, absolutely, that's the right advice. Like, get on board with technology, use it. You can become really valuable, through using modern tools. And I think as a society, then we got to think about, what does it mean when you've got unbelievable power to create value in the hands of some people that are going to do it, and a lot of people that can't.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's so awesome to hear. With the I guess something I'd love to, we didn't cover it 100%, we kind of cover it, but it's specifically the Clear and the Real Talent Suite that you guys have got rolling out. And I noticed when we were doing a bit of research, it was part of it was to combat a surge in deep fakes, as well as, and if I'm getting this correct, this is literally deep fake sort of videos of people, not just like a CV that's been AI'd.
No, I mean, so there's a whole spectrum of things that are happening. It's wild. It's a wild west out there now in hiring.
I'd love to hear more.
And on the one hand, you do have just people that are kind of using AI to spiff up their resume, or even maybe write their cover letter. That's pretty benign. I think most people would say that's not a problem. On the other extreme, you literally have state-funded North Korean corporations whose business is infiltrating Western remote IT jobs and stealing their money and intellectual property. You see this stuff. It's jaw-dropping, and it's happening on an industrial scale all over the world. And companies are terrified. I mean, I've talked to, again, I've been doing this 15 years. Only in the last year have we started talking to CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers, and the security departments of these companies. Or typically we're talking to, talent acquisition. They want to bring people in. They want to be welcoming. They want to be open-minded and give everyone a chance. And then you've got the CISO who's like, the bad guys are out to get me. Here's evidence of, I've seen firsthand evidence of, North Korean infiltration, of even just maybe less extreme version of that, candidates using a deep fake to try to pass an interview that they otherwise wouldn't. And, the CISO's point of view is, the modern corporation isn't physical, it's virtual. Whoever I send that laptop to, they're now inside my walls. They're in my house. I got to know who that person is. And if they're a bad guy, they could be stealing my money. And by the way, if you pay a North Korean, there is no, according to US law, it doesn't matter if you have good or bad intent or knowledge. If you literally send money to someone who's North Korean, you're culpable criminally. So the penalties are real. People, it's not, the stakes are high. Let's put it that way. And so, yeah, I think, people are needing to solve these problems. And so with Real Talent, we really put 3 layers of trust into the hiring pipeline that need to be there. There's this one we're talking about, which is ID verification. Is the person I'm talking to who they say they are? And by the way, when they come back, let's say for another interview, or they show up on the first day of the job, are they still the same person that I interviewed, right? So like basic level of like, who am I actually talking to? There's a next layer of kind of like fraud detection and like electronic signature capture. So basically, where's this person dialing in from? Are they on a phone or a VoIP? Does their location give them away if they say they're in Chicago, but their IP address is from Pakistan? Is their resume a duplicate of a resume that's been coming out of these mills that are, all the same with a different name at top? Like all this kind of like digital detective work that you can do, we've now pull all in and show like some risk signals to our customers to understand a little bit who they're talking to. And then at the top layer, just to deal with that overwhelm that I talked about, is using AI to really help our customers like sift through their inbox and figure out who are the more likely real candidates that I should speak to first. If I have 100 or even 1,000 resumes to look at, I'm not going to look at all of them. Like, help me figure out who's the best likely fit. And I think with all 3 of those together, you can start to think about getting back to a place where you're running an efficient process, a fair process, and avoiding a lot of these risks.
Yeah,
it's almost like you're going to see things.
That's mental, by the way.
Yeah, it's nuts. Because
and again, like 2 years ago, you didn't have to think about any of this stuff. You just read a resume. If you like the person, you talk to them. If you don't, you put it at the bottom of the stack and keep going. Like the AI is creating a whole wild world, and like I think we're just getting started. It's an arms race. I mean, there's literally a commercial industry out there of tools to help job seekers cheat on interviews. And they describe it as such. This is not me disparaging them. It's like, hey, like you want to cheat on an interview, here's this tool. And by the way, it'll evade detection if the company's trying to figure out if you have another program running or if you switch tabs or, if you're using a keyboard. Like there's a cat and mouse game happening at every layer of the hiring process. And so companies just have to be a lot more technological and a lot more savvy and a lot more risk-minded in today's hiring environment. And I wish it wasn't the case, but it is.
That might have been Cluely, the one, the Cheat on Everything app that was launched by Roy Lee.
So interesting. It's going to swing like the other way, do you think, where it is just going to be, a lot of hiring is maybe going to be referrals based or whatever. Like it's always going to be a human on human interaction.
Listen, something's got to change. Absolutely. Yeah. I think, referrals have always been the gold standard. I mean, we see tons of data. Like last quarter, I think we, across our customer base, processed something like 65 million job applications. So we see all the data. Wow. And it shows that referrals by far, pass through at the highest rate. Problem is there's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it's not really, people have tried over the years to do like a technical solution to that and make it easier. I think at the end of the day, like everybody only knows so many great workers that are friends of theirs for any open job. And so I don't know how much more there is. What we have done though, is try to build on that core idea of let's get better signal to figure out like better matches. And so we released a feature last year called My Dream Job, which won Time's 100 most promising inventions of the year. And basically what My Dream Job is as a job seeker across all the companies that you apply to on the Greenhouse platform, you get to designate one of them every month as your dream job. And it sounds simple, but basically because you only get one of them, you think really hard about, is that the one that I really want the most? And is that the one I actually think I have the best chance of getting? You don't want to waste it on a job you're not going to get. And so when they do that on the company side, those dream jobs show up in a prioritized inbox and they say, here's some people that bet on you. They want this job the most and they've bet their chip on the fact that they think they're qualified. So if you've got 1,000 or 2,000, applicants in your inbox, you can look at these ones first and it'll give you a much better signal as to who is likely to get hired. And it's working. Those applicants convert at about 5 times higher of a rate as general application pools. So it's a really useful signal. And just in the 9 months or so since we launched it, almost 2,000 people have gotten their dream jobs using
That
that
is
technology. So
such
there's
a
a lot
cool-
of things that we can do and that we're starting to roll out that really are helping break the doom loop, get people better jobs, get people better access, but that can scale.
Yeah.
That's such a cool invention, because then you're just sort of prioritize, like you're choosing between who do you want? Do you want someone who like maybe pretty good, but you want someone who's going to work their ass off and is in love with the company and then really, and that's really cool. I didn't know that. I did not know that you guys were doing that.
Yeah, and again, it gets back to and why a referral is powerful, because they're a signal. Somebody in your company took their kind of a political capital, if you think of it that way. Like I said, oh, you should hire this person. So like if that person ends up terrible, like I look bad to my boss or my team. And so you're going to use those chips wisely. And so I think the core idea there is like, if you have some sense of value and scarcity that can generate signal in an AI world where you can generate infinite amount of noise. I mean, AI slop, like I can push a button and give you 1 million resumes that I just made up. Like, where's the actual value in there? It's like, where's the human being? Somewhere down under that pile of AI goo, there's an actual human trying to get a job. Like, who is that person? How do we get what's in their head represented in the computer? And like, that's, I mean, it's profound, but it's quite simple. It's like, let's get past all the AI stuff and get to the human.
Yeah, that's
so interesting, man.
What a fun problem to solve. Like, so
a rewarding one, I guess.
Like I said, it's a long term. I don't think we're going to solve it tomorrow or next quarter or next year. And so, it gives us the opportunity to chase things like this for a long time.
Indeed,
so cool.
Indeed.
You heard it here first. Daniel, we've run over, but I'm so sorry for taking more of your time, but we've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. We'd love to have you back whenever you can. It's been great.
Yes, it's been great.
Thank you, Daniel.
Good
Appreciate
stuff.
it.
Great to meet you.
Have a good rest of your day. Cheers, dude. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was nuts. The one, North Korea thing, insane.
Yeah.
Two, even if it's accidental or you just give money to North Korea and you're a US citizen, that's potential jail time.
I didn't realize that. That's high stakes, as you said. Like
super high stakes, man. That's like actual jail time.
Scary stuff.
That's insane.
Indeed.
I want to go back to the Anthropic.
Let's go back to that. Before we jump in there, Airwallex leave out data's business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com.
Whilst you're here, I also want them. What have we had on the show? So we've had a few big deals. We've covered a few big deals. I'd say that these were deals that may have been the reason why
your fund,
particular funds, win the deal of the decade. I want you to be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade. With Spectre at tryspectre.com. I want to harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets at tryspectre.com. That's what I want you to do. That's it.
Go to tryspectre.com.
Just that. That's all.
Next on the show, we have is it Malte? I think it's Malte Kasub. He is the co-founder and CEO of Parloa. But before that, let's jump in. We have 3 minutes. Let's go.
Who are on a tear. I can't wait for that. Let's watch the last ad because
let's watch the last ad.
I'm really digging these ads. I'm also realizing that one of my tweets is blowing up right now. I've not actually checked what it's on.
Let's go.
It's on 45,000 views. What the hell?
Nice one. Well done.
That was my ad. I added the FT. Oh, it's going to get some attention now. Well, you got to cover these breaking stories.
And then you go live and you talk more about
Talk more, yeah. About to swear then. About to drop an S word.
No?
Okay,
No. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, nice. 45,000 views. All right, cool. Let's see that go up. More. I'm addicted to it. Let's go. Anyway, let's get this ad up. I want to watch the last one because that was really interesting.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so well done. Claude, I'm sorry, they nail brand in a way that, we did get halfway through it, to be fair, but they nail brand in a way that others don't seem to be able to nail. It's almost like the brand is a little bit old school.
Yeah.
The logo.
It's
organic.
The orange is just like...
It's organic.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's great.
It feels earthy.
Done a good job.
Feels earthy. But their branding team is just doing insane. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but we didn't actually go too deep into it. But the work that they're doing on the marketing side of things, where they're really honing in basically on the fact that they have a great opportunity as they move towards the consumer market a little bit. 'Cause as we know now, something like 80% of their revenue is dominated by enterprise revenue. They've done an amazing job at positioning themselves on short form content, out of all things, the distribution engine of the world now, particularly with creators, with sort of niche celebrities in their niche that then will push, this is how I'm using Claude. Some of it's very cinematic. Some of it isn't very cinematic, which is good. Yeah, which is some nice UGC stuff. But they're doing an incredible job. And they're obviously putting a lot of money into this. Why would they do that? Because they want to capture more of the consumer market. Kind of like they're, you know, we're going to, hey, like, we've just dominated the enterprise market. I haven't seen a brand dominate the enterprise market more publicly than they are.
Yeah.
Not even just full stop. That, I think it's nuts. They just, every other day, it's like, UK government. They're working with, they announced a partnership with them. Like, I saw they're doing something with F1 as well the other day. They're just publicly destroying the enterprise market. And then now, this is like the flag in the air. Not flag in the air, that would be like surrendering. This is like the...
It depends what color it is, but yeah.
Yeah,
I get what you mean. It'd be like
war.
Yeah, we're coming for everyone.
Yeah, we're coming for everything. But they're coming for the consumer market.
Well, they've had a bit of backlash after these, but I think they were worth.
I think
they're worth the 10 mil
treat.
that they dropped for the Super Bowl ad as well.
They went down a treat. I think they went down. I think it's been, and it's only.
Oh yeah, there's more comments saying, you guys have just absolutely mogged OpenAI. This is so funny.
They've nailed it in a brand way. It's been done tastefully.
Exactly.
And if it's been done tastefully, I'm here for it. I think that's okay.
It's very key. Anyway, I think we have our next guest on. Malte, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Amazing. Is that how I pronounce it, Malte?
That's perfect.
No. Oh, okay, good.
Awesome.
I thought you were shaking your head.
We're going to bring you live onto the show. I think we're live right now. Are we bringing him in? Yes, we are.
There you go.
Introducing the co-founder and CEO of Parloa. 350 million round recently. So good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's been a day that we've been really looking forward to, mainly because of this conversation as well. This is a big part of it. For those who don't know you and the brand, maybe could you introduce yourself and what the business is?
Sure. And first of all, thanks for inviting me. I'm Attio, one of the co-founders and CEO of Parloa. We help large enterprise companies to build, deploy and scale AI agents for customer communication. So our AI agents pick up the phone if customers call, they greet customers on a homepage, they guide customers through an app. And we believe every customer interface will become conversational, and we help companies to build the foundation to do that.
Awesome stuff. Straight off the back, we did this with we previously had the CEO of Greenhouse Software on just before you came on, and we started the interview by going back to 2015.
11 years back.
To a conversation he had in 2015, which he remembered like it was yesterday, which was amazing. So we're going to hopefully do something similar with you. But you started your first company in 11th grade, I saw.
Yes.
It was a music competition for schools and then scaled into a massive NGO, if that's accurate. I hope it is. How did this happen?
That's a good question. So I've never been employed in my life. Actually, I started doing this NGO back then in school, and we initially started building this music contest within my school, and we saw it's pretty difficult to do that actually. It's very expensive if you want to do that professionally. So we did it once, and then we said, let's scale that concept to other schools. And then eventually it became pretty big with over 250 schools that participated. It became an NGO. That was the early innings of being a founder.
It's so nuts. And then following on from that, I think it was prior to Parloa, you founded Wand Notice. Am I saying that right?
Wandnotiz, yes. It's German. It's a German name.
Got it. Okay, sorry, I'm butchering the pronunciation, but this was an e-commerce company where, like, you've discussed this. I mean, well, I want to hear it from you first because I have some research. But what was it? This was selling T-shirts with song lyrics on, right?
So it was posters and canvases actually for offices and for your apartment. And the idea was always, yes, you can have a piece of art, or you have a piece of art which is more emotional for you. So we did cooperations with Universal Music, with Warner, to put lyrics on those on those posters and canvases. We wrote love letters to city. We did that for Berlin, for Hamburg. We created one of the most viral videos in, I think it was 2014 on Facebook. We like were completely sold out for weeks. So it was e-commerce back then that got successful through social media.
So cool. And then I guess just like to start the interview off properly, my final question is like, how does this lead to the founding story of Parloa?
So we sold the e-commerce business, and I wanted to do something more technical. And I looked at a lot of different topics, and then I met my co-founder, Stefan, and he was looking deep into voice AI. That was 2016. And in 2016, you saw that there was a first breakthrough in voice AI. Basically, you saw that the quality and the accuracy of speech to text actually skyrocketed to a level of human. And we thought back then, okay, that will actually change how companies interact with customers. And then we founded Future of Voice, one of the first conversational AI agencies in the world, in 2017. And then 17 and 18, I did like 100 keynotes saying voice assistants will change the world. Eventually, it took like 7-8 years longer than we anticipated, right? Back then, it didn't really work very well. Yeah, but we stayed on course, and then LLMs happened, and everything got way better. And now we are where we thought we would be way earlier.
Nice. That's that story. Like, I mean, you can't be too early, but it sounds like you were early enough where it was kind of timed perfectly.
Well, I feel like you kept the lights on long enough to experience that luck, right?
You kept on the lights long enough. So it was quite some time where, like, you probably all know those old chatbots and voice bots where, like, it was kind of working, but actually didn't work because you had those if and else trees, and then the agent said, well, I didn't understand you, and it was more or less a nightmare, right? That was the technology back then, and we always thought, okay, this is not how we're going to solve our problem, like human conversations. We need to have a technical breakthrough, and then obviously large language models happened, and now we are where we wanted to be way earlier.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Awesome. That's so dope.
And can you fast forward to Parloa nowadays? Can you explain exactly kind of like, who you're building for, where the company is today, and what the plan is for 2026?
Yeah. So we built the platform for some of the largest enterprises in the world, right? So we are working for companies like Booking.com, for Allianz, for IKEA, and companies that are operating on a very global scale. What they can do, they can actually work in Parloa and build and deploy and train the AI agents and put them into all the different interfaces. If it's a telephone, a hotline, if it's a homepage, if it's an app. And then their teams, actually, we have customers, they have 10 to 20 people that are daily working in Parloa, building agents for more countries, more use cases, and they deploy those AI agents in over 100 countries. And we believe that will be also the future of customer experience and customer communication.
And you raised a round somewhat recently. This was a mammoth round. Can we hear more about this raise? Like, this was nuts when I saw it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So, I believe this is one of the biggest software opportunities that has ever existed in software. And in the last couple of years, we worked very hard to build the foundation for breakout years that are going to come, 26, 27, 2026, 2027, and 2028, we believe will be breakout years in our category. And seeing the progress we did last year led to the fact that some investors approached us and said, hey, we believe like now's the time. You shouldn't wait. And we said, well, we actually agree. Let's go all in. And then we decided it was a pretty quick process. Let's do it, and let's go full throttle. Let's go faster.
We love that. We absolutely love that. So cool.
And from the customer side, I want to ask, these huge brands like Allianz and IKEA, are they on a board level? Is it like we need this to be able to kind of, like this is like kind of do or die? We should go into this to move with the times and all of that kind of stuff, or is it a very much like educational thing for the customers first to say this is needed, these are the reasons why? What's the kind of, I guess, the selling dynamic?
Yeah, so what is happening right now, and that's why we believe 26, 27, 28 will be breakout years. Every executive of a global company, they need to show some progress in AI adoption, right? Public markets want to see efficiency gains, revenue increase with AI. And there are not too many use cases that are proven, right? If you look at the MIT study, 95% of AI pilots fail. Customer support, especially in 24, 25, everyone saw, okay, customer support actually on scale works. So what we are seeing now is that executives from our customers, but also a lot of customers we're talking to right now, they all have it on their agenda because they know with customer support, they can drive massive AI returns. And so, yes, it is an executive topic, and then it's about convincing that you're the right partner to actually make them successful.
Awesome stuff. And on this funding round that you guys did recently as well, there was a Parloa promise as part of that. I'd love to understand, what is the Parloa promise? What does it mean? Why did you promise this to people?
Yeah, so there are different parts of the Parloa promise, and we believe that everyone says a lot of fancy stuff and they're the best, and we wanted to dive a bit deeper and saying, okay, we want to promise a couple of things. Not just on a feature level, but on like, what do we actually do? What do we do for our customers, like our enterprise customers? We always deliver the best features you need. We always deliver a platform where you are enabled to actually build your agents, train your agents. We always make sure that it's secure, that it's reliable, because we are working with some of the largest enterprises. But we also promise to the customers of our customers that we take care of your customer support experience, because we all know it's a nightmare if you call somewhere. So we don't want to just promise something to enterprise, but also to the end customer. But we also want to promise to the labor force. Like, we are in one of the biggest shifts that has ever happened to the labor market, right? And we believe part of our job is also to educate people that might have had a job prior to that transformation in order to help them to get into a different job. And I think that should be part of our promise as well. We're helping the labor market to get educated, to be supervisors of agents, to train agents in the future, to understand AI on a different level, so they can advance what they have been doing in the past. And we wanted to put that into a one promise with a lot of details beneath it.
No, I hadn't seen that I think it's awesome. I think it's a really cool thing. I hadn't seen that before.
Well, it's
tied to a fundraise as well.
Yeah, no, I think it's good because when we went through like 2026 predictions, at the beginning of January, a lot of it was all about kind of like implementation of said AI. It's all about like the consolidation of all the noise that's happened over, in agents, but then also everywhere else vertically in AI, and making sure that what you're actually building is actually like useful for your customer, right? And I assume that is obviously the plan. But is that like, is that like the one thing that you have to kind of say to customers, like, this is integral to the company, right?
Yeah, I think there are two parts in it, right? There are a lot of nice AI pilots, and it is the shiny new AI project. But in the end, it's not about delivering AI just because you want to deliver AI. It's about what is the result? What is the value you're delivering in the end, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, that is what we all care about. And that is the promise to our enterprise and the promise to the customers of our enterprises, right? That is what it's all about. So that's the one part of it. The second part of it, we are moving in this whole new world in enterprise software from a lot of nice demos and like companies stitch things together to, hey, the bar for an agentic platform needs to be as high as the bar for a CRM or ERP. Like, we are processing millions and millions of conversations of customer data highly critical use cases. So we're moving from this pilot demo environment in that industry to, hey, that is the standard. And we have started building that standard quite some time ago, because we're working with those big enterprises, and we're seeing that the bar is getting higher every month, because there are very critical use cases in customer data that are being processed by those platforms.
And I want to now like deep dive into the product itself, and how Parloa is kind of like evolving now, kind of handling emotional like nuances and all of that kind of stuff, and where the models are kind of going, and your kind of take on the general performance of models, and where you can you see it going in the next kind of year, 6 months, or even like few weeks.
Yeah. So I think there are different parts of it. Let's break it down. The first is the experience in itself. And the second is the quality. So how good is instruction following and the process execution itself. Let's start by the experience. What is part of experience? The one part is, let's stay with voice, is how natural is the voice, or how robotic it is, right? And there we have reached nearly human level, right? We're about to get there. Probably this year, that you can't really differentiate it anymore. If you now look, they're pretty good, but they're still like little tweaks which you need to do. Second is latency, right? You want to have like very fast latency. There we are more or less on human level. This is like more or less instantly. So on the experience side, we have come very far, and I believe in 26 it will happen that we actually say, okay, like we can't differentiate anymore if it's a human or if it's an AI agent. Then on the second part, it's about the execution, the instruction following. So how good are the models in actually solving end-to-end use cases, right? And there the models have progressed, right? And there was always this discussion about, hey, the models get better and better and bigger, and then they will solve everything. But if you look at an enterprise deployment, what matters way more than the next iteration of the model is what is the right context you put into the prompt, right? The right use case description, the right customer data, the right guardrails, the right contract information, and so on, right? So to construct the context of the agent in a given situation, that it is enough context but not too much, so that the instruction following and true calling is best in class, and then to create an eval and sim and eval loop to really guarantee that the agent you build is performing as it should. And there the big breakthrough and the big process lies, and that in the end is work you need to build around the model in itself.
I didn't realize it was you mentioned like you don't want to give it too much context. We've spoken to a few guests on the show today, and we spoke to a lot of guests where they obviously say context is the thing. It has to have as much context as possible. But then I've never heard someone say, you don't want to give it too much context. What do you mean by that?
So what happens if let's assume you're in a customer conversation, right? And the customer has 4 contracts. Those 4 contracts have 30 pages each. You have implemented 200 different end-to-end use cases. Each end-to-end use cases has, if you just look at the text, 4 pages. And then you have a lot of guardrails. The prompt in itself becomes very, very long. And if a prompt becomes long, and then a conversation also goes long, the prompt gets bigger and bigger and bigger. What happens over the course of the conversation? The instruction following of the agent goes down, and the tool calling goes down. And that is something that you don't want. If you have a 3, 5, 20-minute conversation with an AI agent and a human, and you're in a highly regulated enterprise environment, like the agent should do what it should do, right? And not like, well, I have so much context, maybe I go left or right? This can't happen. So what you need to do is all the relevant context for every single situation is nice, but you need to find the right context for that specific situation, put it in the context, and then use that specific information in order to succeed. Because they're like, companies saved a lot of customer data in the past, right? What did the customer buy? What were the behaviors in the past, and so on? Like, if you load all of that in like one agent in one prompt, it will just explode and the quality is not good enough. So this context actually is one of the most critical things to solve and to optimize in order to get high reliability of an agent.
Wow, that's so interesting. I
interesting.
did not know that. We have 2 minutes left. I'd love to ask a question around, but mainly your hiring philosophy, like your job as a CEO now that the company's in a pretty integral part of its journey, right? You've raised this big round. There's a lot of growth looking forward. You've already hired some, what seem like in a way category defining leaders at Parloa. You've got Alexander Matthias, CTO, formerly of Attio, Latane Conant, CMO, previous B2B marketing leader, ex-6sense, Dorothy Copland, VP of Partners, previously AWS and Stripe. I'm hoping that I'm getting those right and the pronunciation is right. But your job now, like how are you, is hiring top of the list? Like what is your philosophy on hiring at this stage of the company?
Yeah, obviously hiring is very, very important for us. And we're spending a lot of time. We have systemized it a lot. I think in the end, it's about searching for people that are highly ambitious, have a very high bar, and want to take a journey that can be painful. And I'm in every interview, I ask everyone, like, why do you want to do that, right? This is probably the most painful job you have ever done. It will also be the most rewarding one, but this is a very active choice. It's about, we want to go to the Super Bowl and like we want to win it. If you want to win the Super Bowl, like it's very hard training, like just the best people get in there and they all work a lot in order to make it happen. But then you can win the Super Bowl, right? And you need to find a set of people. It's a mix of people that are young, smart, hungry, and people that have experience. I think in the end, it's a mix of both that are ambitious and that want to be on that journey together to define an industry-defining company. And it's a fun ride, but it's also a very hard ride because the bar is very high.
That's so cool. Yeah. That's nuts.
First.
We are at time. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been awesome. We'd love to have you back on whenever you have time. But yeah, it's been great.
Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure.
Nice
Good stuff.
Cheers.
Great to meet you.
Cheers, dude. So nuts. Wow. Mammoth round. Who would have
Mad
thought?
company, big. Yeah, they're gonna be a huge.
They
huge
have
company.
so much to capture as well.
Yeah.
So much left to capture. It's gonna be an absolute tear.
Very
Next
exciting.
guest it's the return of the king. It's Nicholas Sharp. Attio founder
Return
and
of the
CEO.
king.
He's joining us in 9 minutes, I believe.
Yeah, we'll do
1:30.
We'll go to the town hall, but first, Airwallex, leave our dated business banking behind with
Leave it
Airwallex,
behind you now.
the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate accounts, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com.
Let me tell you about our friends over there at Polymarket as well. It's the world's largest prediction market. You can stay informed and
There's
you
a
can
ticker
profit
there.
from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com.
Yeah, go to the ticker.
Okay, let's go and check in on the town square. Let's see what's going on over there. We can have a little bit of taste of the OpenAI Anthropic saga. I've actually got, if I can pull this one up. Do we want to maybe
Are we
do
good?
Sam's?
Can we pull things up? Oh, we can.
Yeah. We're okay to do it. If we can look at, so Sam Altman has responded to the ads from Anthropic. Sam Altman, founder of OpenAI, says, first, the good part of the Anthropic ads. They're funny. And I laughed. Is that true? I don't know. But I wonder why Anthropic would go for something so clearly dishonest. Our most important principle for ads says that we won't do exactly this. We would obviously never run ads in the way Anthropic depicts them. We are not stupid and we know our users would reject that. I guess it's on brand for Anthropic doublespeak to use a deceptive ad to critique theoretical deceptive ads that aren't real, but a Super Bowl ad is not where I would expect it. More importantly, we believe everyone deserves to use AI and are committed to free access because we believe access creates agency. More Texans use ChatGPT for free than total people use Claude in the US, so we have a differently shaped problem than they do. If you want to pay for ChatGPT Plus or Pro, we won't show you ads. Anthropic serves an expensive product to rich people. We are glad they do that, and we are doing that too. but we also feel strongly that we need to bring AI to billions of people who can't pay for subscriptions. Maybe even more importantly, Anthropic wants to control what people do with AI. They block companies they don't like from using their coding product, including us. They want to write the rules themselves for what people can and can't use AI for. And now they also want to tell other companies what their business models can be. And then a bit more on like, the whole saga. Pretty nuts to see that, to be honest. Like pretty nuts. I think
he had to come out with a statement. Obviously,
Probably
they're like
did.
directly shooting at OpenAI, obviously. I think the big thing here was the fact that he didn't, like, so many comments have been Anthropic, or so many of the negative comments on the Super Bowl ads is that they haven't been, just like they're like controlling the like who's using AI and all of this kind of stuff. And OpenAI obviously like are trying to be this kind of like not open source, but they're trying to allow everyone to use AI.
Yeah.
And they're the two, I guess, like main points. But yeah, whether they're
I just don't think we can, like, when like you're in a group chat and somebody writes, maybe two people are having an argument, and someone writes a really well thought out, like good, solid, like rebuttal to the thing they've been challenged on, and they made a spelling mistake in one of the words, and the first reply is just like their spelling mistake, like typed out back at them, like they're spelt wrong. Like, there. And that person wins the argument. Like the person who spotted the spelling mistake. So no matter what they say, what? Because it was funny. It was funny how that person called out a spelling mistake.
Yeah.
That's funny. They
Right
win
place,
the argument.
right time.
Similar thing. Like Anthropic has taken a swing. It's worked. They've done a good job at it being tasteful. It's funny. It's obviously hyperbolic. It's obviously a bit of a dig. It's obviously stretching the truth a little bit. And I think everyone knows that.
Everyone in the tech world knows that. Yeah,
it's entertaining. People.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
this is funny.
You want to have mind share of people, and you do that by being funny.
By being funny, but that's like a viral thing, They've lent into the current culture. They knew people were making fun of it in that way. They knew people didn't really believe it would be as bad as that. Like they've brought to life all the stuff that people were saying online, and they've done it in a really tasteful. Might not be the right word because like it is a dig, but they've done it in a very.
I would say
well designed, way.
Tasteful, no, but like
well crafted.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crafty as well.
They've thought about it.
Yeah, they had a good old thing.
Crafty Anthropic.
The Crafty Lab. Yeah. Maybe that's their new Anthropic the Crafty. That's their new Lego. But I think I'm here for it, as we all, we always love a bit of drama. We always love a bit of beef. If it's done tastefully, of course. If it's not done tastefully, we got no time for that. But this was executed very well. The ads are funny. It's not too crazy. Plays into the culture. Big fan.
Also, he's shot back. He says more Texans use ChatGPT for free than total people use Claude in the US. Sama's chose,
which is a good shot. But again, we know our client base is enterprise. So
yeah.
Kind of like,
well, the release of Codex, they're already at 1 million users as well.
I saw that, but they did. I'm pretty sure
as of him writing that tweet, they were at 500,000, and as of now, they're at 1 million.
So I think they did something where they made the whole plan free and let in 1 million users, and then we're like, we've got 1 million users. Where it's like, well, the product's paid. Let's see how many they've churned.
Okay.
But that was a tweet. I don't know if it's legit or not. I just saw that.
Fair.
But so that's what we've also seen. On top of this, we've seen that the CMO of OpenAI has also come out to speak. This is Ashley Mayer's review of the tweet. It was initially up there first, but this is Kate Roach, CMO of OpenAI. Betrayal, deception, treachery. These are the words that we used in the ad, of course. Those ads are funny, and the former Meta ads executive who made them is good at his job. He had a lot of practice. Here's what's not funny. Calling ads a betrayal when your business model is selling paid subscriptions to companies. ChatGPT has more free users in Texas than Claude, trademark, that has globally. Real betrayal isn't ads, it's control. Anthropic thinks powerful AI should be tightly controlled in small rooms in San Francisco and Dallas. This is too, capital letters, dangerous for you.
This is too far. This is too far. And actually, Malika said, she said, if your CMO is posting this in response to competitor success, you need to switch jobs. It's kind of true. Like, she's got a little bit too far.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that.
I do. I think that I am a fan of the fact that this CMO decided to get on the front lines and fire a few shots back, because traditionally maybe public company statement goes out, everyone's hiding, like, which is fair, that's fair.
Well, but we're gone are the days of waiting for like a press release. Just send a tweet.
This is new media,
and
baby.
now the CMO
comes out swinging.
It's just
Hey, all y'all at Anthropic.
That's so funny.
I think it's awesome.
Anyway, I think we have our next guest on. Nicholas Sharp is in the show. Here we go.
I'm bringing him on as we speak. The trumpets are playing. We said earlier it was the return of the king, and the king has arrived. It's Nicholas Sharp. How are we, Nick?
Doing really well. Super happy to be back. Good to see you both.
Good to have you on again, mate. Good to have you on. So much has changed since we last spoke. You guys have done a recent announcement.
Are you in the new office, by the way?
I am. Yeah, I am.
Nice. Oh, no way. Can we have a little show around? Can we see?
I can just see the blurriness.
Not
lovely.
Much. We'll have you around. We'll give you a proper tour.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Okay,
We'd love that. We'd absolutely love that. Nick, it's so good to have you on again. It's so good to see you. Can you tell us a bit more about the news? You guys have just released Ask Attio. This is something that I'm thinking a lot of people didn't know they needed it. They've been waiting a long time for it without even knowing that they've been waiting a long time for it.
And you guys have been building it for a while, and it's now out there, which is cool.
Let's hear about it.
So it's actually, people have been waiting this for decades. I mean, this is the holy grail of CRM, right? This kind of flips the relationship of what a CRM is and kind of changes the paradigm entirely. So Ask Attio is a new conversational interface to your CRM data. And importantly, it can reason over unstructured data, which is the important thing, because all of this that we're doing, the talking, the sales calls, emails, etc., has historically been this black hole of unstructured data. And you can now reason over it, take action over it. And examples of this are, I've been using this for the last few months, and at the end of every day, I run a workflow which basically goes over hundreds of hours of calls, all of our emails, etc., and gives me a summary of everything I need to know. Customers that need attention, product feedback, customers that we think are really exciting opportunities, etc. And as you can imagine, doing that previously was impossible, being on 100 calls a day or whatever. But very exciting, very exciting.
Dude, so cool. And congrats to the team on shipping this and getting it out. The launch looked like it went really well. Saw the really cool video on X as well. Yeah. This has been a recurring topic on the show today. The topic of context. It's been a recurring topic since we came back from last year, to be honest. Right at the start of 2026, a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people want to be near it. What maybe we've taken from the conversations that we've had, there's a lot of these people are talking about context, but they're talking about it in a particular vertical. And I don't mean that in take Attio in the CRM vertical, but their vertical isn't connected to every single other vertical, right? Whereas your CRM is basically the beating heart of the business. So my question is this the most powerful thing then? Because this is, you're not just talking to your department or your tool, you're talking to the company itself, right?
And this is we've taken such a big bet on context that we've actually built we've built some core infrastructure around this that we call universal context. So one of the most important aspects of Attio is the data layer and its ability to ingest all of your data, store it however you want, scale massively, etc. And the capability we've been adding in the last 6 months or so has been this universal context, which is essentially anything that goes into Particle, goes into the data layer, gets embeddings created, and then you can do vector search on it. And if you imagine you're about to get on a call with a customer, if you don't have every single bit of information that's happened and you miss the last email where they say, we're moving ahead, or we're not moving ahead, or you miss the support tickets or whatever it is, then you kind of go in with the very wrong impression of what you're supposed to be doing or talking about. So the depth of the context and the completeness of it is really, really important, which is why we've taken a big R&D bet on it.
Mm-hmm. And have you launched this out to the whole, anyone on Attio can use this now?
Yes, paying. So at the moment it's on paying plans.
Yeah.
So that's that's something like, what are we up now? 7,000 companies.
So nuts. And we saw this the other day. The ramp from the try ramp data, it was Attio was the fastest growing CRM in the market.
Yeah. So we're starting. CRM is a huge market. So it's one of those things where, like, if you're showing up on graphs, you've made some progress, because the N is so huge. It's sort of the equivalent of the car industry for software or something, where you got to sell a lot to make progress. But it's very cool. So we're now in the ramp data with the fifth largest CRM, but obviously that's last year. It was we didn't show up, so we're excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
And what's the plan for the rest of the year? You want to get to fourth, third, whatever, right?
Yeah. So we've got very, as always, very ambitious targets in terms of serving more customers and growth, and all of that stuff. But we're also in this kind of wild time of software where it is there's deep uncertainty about where things are going, and we're in hardcore R&D mode. So there are no playbooks. No one knows how to build applied AI software companies. No one knows what the capabilities of the models are going to be in a week's time, let alone in a year's time. So we're doing this sort of simultaneous thing this year of doubling down on being very, very nimble and refinding product market fit over and over again as capabilities change, as expectations change, but also trying to scale the company at the same time. So it's fun, it's intense, and it's an incredible time to be building a company, but it's pretty full on. We've broken out from like marathon pace just to a flat out sprint. We've got to sprint a marathon now.
That's pretty hard to do. It's funny you mentioned that, because we've again discussed it on the show before, but what we're seeing recently in headlines is software stocks looking down, and it's obviously based off of speculation from the market, right? It's a voting system in its sense, and people are voting that, like, okay, there's a threat here from AI. These are legacy systems, though. These are old school, like, software businesses that aren't AI native. Do you see this then as that to me screams like big opportunity, right? For an AI native company to run at, they can do what they do in an AI native way.
Yeah. So I have kind of, I guess, mixed opinions about this. So in one way, I think people are just nervous about incumbency disruption. And obviously, that's what we're trying to do every day, is disrupt incumbents. And so that's good. It's good that there's some consensus building that's going to happen and that's possible. Equally, I think that the very sharp drop off is probably an overreaction. And I think I don't think it's I think we'll probably see some sort of like normality return. I don't think it's quite as warranted as it is. It's going to take a longer time, etc. And actually, I think some of these companies are really good. I mean, I think Figma, for example, is a really good company and will remain relevant for a really long time. So I think that's probably not going to stick.
Yeah. We similar sort of like, who do we have on? Dan Gray, one of the lead researchers who recently joined Odin. We were talking about the IPO markets in general with him. And it was, general consensus was like, bit of an overreaction. These companies are solid companies that are making good money. We always gave up the sort of rebuttal that, yes, you can maybe make a tweet about how you just like vibe coded this CRM and it's taken you a prompt, but can you roll that out to a company the size of 200 FTEs or 2,000 FTEs and actually use it, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. And I think the interesting thing is that it's always been somewhat. I'm just not sure that the kind of thing that has stopped people building lots and lots of and managing lots of software themselves has been the cost of the initial development. Writing code can is obviously very, very, very cheap now, but there are still lots of various expensive aspects to support that, maintain it, keep it reliable, and to get that last kind of 10%, which is the delta between it working fine and working really, really well. I'm just not sure that many businesses, if someone in the team said to me, hey, look, we're paying 50,000 a year for our employee, our HR system. If I vibe code this, we could pay 1,000 a year. I would be very unimpressed with that suggestion. We're trying to do something here, and it's not rebuild software that runs our company. Where's the alpha? And it's not in rebuilding these things.
Yeah. It's not getting employees just to like one shot stuff.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
I did want to like semi touch on something. I guess similar where, we touched on hiring the last time you were on, and
that went nuts, by the way. The clip we posted of you went crazy. So thank you for that.
we talked about it in your philosophy and how you guys approach it, and you approach it in a very unique way. But things have, I guess, changed since we've had you on, in the fact that we talked about it earlier on the show to the CEO of Greenhouse, and he was saying, agency is like the one thing that if you're young in the job market now, have agency, because you can go and do what you want to go and do and build what you want to go and build. And so with your employees, is everyone at Attio building their own stuff and kind of tinkering with this stuff? What's the what's going on kind of behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because like the easier it's become to be technical, or the more that you can do by being slightly technical, it's created more need for technical people, because their leverage now is just so ginormous. And so we're finding that the easier these tools are to use, the more impactful the results are. Just the more that we want people who can think like that. And so our expectation now, for example, in, let's say, growth marketing, is that you are pretty damn technical, and you're spending a lot of time building systems, experimenting, trying things, etc. And I would say that after our engineering team, our growth marketing team write the most code. And they're writing a lot of code these days. We see this in other areas as well. We see, like in sales as well. So we've just had someone vibe code on top of Attio a really incredible discounting and pricing calculator and PDF, invoice generation workflow, etc. So and most of these folks are like pretty early career people, very kind of very interested in how the technology works, very curious, willing to give things a go, and the results are epic. So yeah, agency, nuts. You've got to, you kind of have to like lose your inhibition and just be like, I'm just going to try it, and we're just going to go for it. And because no one really, again, you can't really be taught this, but you're not going to have a manager who's going to teach you how to vibe code, right? It's like, it's all too new. So you've got to be figuring out a lot of this stuff by yourself.
So all the Attio employees are just vibe coding. Like,
everyone's super technical.
Everyone's desks are different. You're just trying things.
Yeah, I mean, like it's pretty. I think we're pretty deeply AI pilled here, and it's pretty difficult to walk through the office without hearing a conversation about a malt bot or an LLM.
That's so good. It's really interesting what you say though. Like the easier. Like it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I can't remember what that paradox is, but it's to do with like the consumption of a certain thing creates more of the thing in a way. Like energy prices sort of falling, more energy is consumed, more things are created, therefore more energy is consumed. And it's I forget the name of it. I've completely forgotten.
No, but there are a lot of parallels, right? Of this happening before. Like I'm absolutely certain that if you think about why a lot of the engineers at Attio got into engineering and software, it was because when they were kids, they could go and write scripts in Minecraft, and there was that was accessible to a subset of kids who are interested in that. Now, had we not had kind of memory safe languages, and had we not had all of the layer of abstraction above the previous technology, the number of those people who would have paid attention and got into these things would be tiny. And so now that we have another layer of abstraction on top, we'll just see more and more people get into this stuff. And I think it will create way more builders. I mean, ultimately, it will just be a huge democratization of this stuff.
Yeah, that's so nuts. The I guess speaking more on the employee side, like tell us a bit more about the new office. Like, how come the new office? Right, I saw you've been, well, separate question as well to this, but new office, and I want to hear about the growth and stuff and what's going on behind the scenes with the employees. But adjacent to that, like the new office is in London. You've been very, very, very vocal about like why you're staying in London, why you're building in London, and I'd love to hear more about that as well.
I love London. I think it's a great place to build a company for many, many reasons. The new office is part of it was just a practicality. We were absolutely bursting at the seams in the last one. It was like pretty unpleasant at the end. So we just needed the space. We want to be able to host customers. We want to be able to host events and do all that sort of stuff. And we need room to grow. It's also, we have a very globally distributed team. So we've got tons of teammates in the US. We must have about 40 or 50 people in the US. And then we've got colleagues all over Europe as well. So we get people into the office all the time. We haven't actually announced, this is the first mention of it actually. But we've also, this week, we're also opening offices in New York and San Francisco. So the US market is like super important to us. And so we have a big presence there. But going back to why we're bullish on London, it comes down to a couple of things. So firstly, massively, I think there's just incredible talent here, just really, really brilliant talent. And then it's made us build a global business from day one. So we're in the kind of middle of the time zones. We can serve customers to the east and the west of us. We can work with people in the east and the west of us. We can when we add the US and Europe together, we now have a talent pool of close to 1 billion people. But I think the thing is that London is a great place to have a company. It's a great place to run a company, great place to hire people, but you've got to be globally competitive. And don't build a company in London for the local market. Build one that's going to win globally. And I think if you do that and you take the American market really seriously and you put in the painful jet laggy trips, then I think you can get the best of both worlds and actually kind of a pretty big advantage.
I love to hear that.
I love that, getting both sides of the
when we spoke to Martin Mignot a while back over at Index, he was saying
obviously a massive proponent for kind of build global.
One of his taglines in a way, like he loves the phrase, but the conversation went something along the lines of you've got an opportunity here to build at a discount because the talent is equally as good, and sometimes it's not as expensive. Like yes, there's equity there, but the base salaries aren't anything near what they're compared to in SF. But also then you have the opportunity to sell at a premium now. If the product is global from day one, you have that. You've already
but here's the interesting thing, which is that the salary discrepancy is not as big as people think it is. For a couple of reasons. Number one, you want to get the best people, so you pay kind of globally competitive salaries. Number two, US companies totally understand the talent density in Europe. They understand the great universities, brilliant talent here, etc., and they really take advantage of it. So we're both in London. You go to King's Cross, you have thousands of employees from US big tech. But then whenever a US company wants to open an office outside of the US, 95% of the time it's in London. And so you have it is a competitive market, and you pay people well, and you have to pay people well. But I think the bigger thing on the talent side is that you have people stay with companies for longer, and you definitely find that sort of year one plus is where people have all of the context. They feel really. They feel like they're really empowered. They know all their colleagues super well, and they do brilliant work. And that's exactly so. It's when you don't want to lose people. And I think in the US, especially in San Francisco, there is just much more churn of talent, which makes things much harder. So the talent advantage, I think, is just quantity and access to great people, and then also being able to retain people for longer.
I assume it's just, I guess, because in SF there's just generally more noise, there's more people building, and so the opportunity for churn, the opportunities are, you know, greater in a kind of nomical sense. So yeah.
That's the loyalty and retention thing has also come up when we were discussing like the rise in secondaries, which is now, you know, it's previously maybe 5 or 6 years ago, it might be seen as a bit of a, not taboo, but a bit like, ooh, that's weird. Like the founders.
Well, they're going to lose their employees, but now it's an employee retention.
Yeah. Now it's a great thing. Now people are celebrating it, right? And I'm happy about that.
Because private companies are staying private longer.
Yeah.
You also need, there needs to be a mechanism for some kind of liquidity, right? And before you might, at $1 billion valuation, you could very plausibly, I mean, you know, we're talking 10, 15 years ago, but you could very plausibly go public. And if you think about when HubSpot, you know, went public, I think this might be wrong, but I think it was at about 800 million valuation. Now that 800 million valuation is, these days, could be very early in a company's life cycle. It could be a very long time until IPO. And in many cases, like in the case of Stripe, for example, it doesn't even seem like it's on the horizon. And you need a mechanism to compete against big tech that obviously has very liquid stock. And so it's sort of a necessity.
Yeah, I guess it's a different game, really. I mean, that 800 million valuation, we're seeing pre-seed companies get who don't have a product, don't have any revenue.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is funny.
Thinking machines.
Yeah. Sinking machines. We are at time.
Yeah, we're at time.
Thank you so much, Nick. It's always a pleasure.
Great. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on. I will hopefully see you in our office very soon.
Oh, we'd love to. Yeah,
Indeed.
let's make it happen.
Indeed.
Cheers,
Congrats.
Nick. Have a good one.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Awesome stuff.
Next on the show, we have Tiago Sada. He is CPO of World and Tools for Humanity. We have to ask him what one. Can you hear us, Tiago? Oh, we can't. Can we hear you?
Can I hear you?
I don't
I'm not
think
sure
so.
if I can hear you. We're just checking with our producer if that's on us.
Can you hear me
no, yeah, we can hear you now.
Boom.
Good stuff.
There we go.
Good stuff. How's it going?
Great.
Dude, welcome to the show. Let me hit these.
Right after this.
Let's go. Welcome, Tiago, to the European Technology Network. It's an honor to have you on here. What's going on, man?
Super excited to be here. I'm actually in Europe right now. I'm about to fly to London, so I'll be probably near you guys in a few hours.
Nice. Wait, what brings you to London?
You know, the company started both in SF and in Germany. We have a bunch of like operations here. Half of the team is here. I lived here in Europe for a while. Now I'm in SF, but we have a lot going on in Europe, so I spend quite a bit of time here.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Let's go. Cool. Maybe for the viewers and watchers, can you maybe just break down, and for me a little bit as well, the world and the tools for humanity side of things? Like I wasn't aware that they were connected in a way before we started doing our research. Maybe just that for us, and then also would love to get into your role a bit more as well.
Totally. So look, at a very high level, something like 6 years ago, Sam Altman from OpenAI and this guy called Alex Plania, they were talking and they were like, look, we think advanced AI, AGI is going to come much sooner than most people think. And this before ChatGPT and before all these things. And they were like, look, this is going to be awesome, but it's also going to come with new challenges, right? And we're going to need tools to like adapt to those challenges. So they started this company called Tools for Humanity. It's a for-profit to like just build stuff that we thought humans would need in the age of AI. And so we've built a bunch of stuff. And the most famous thing that we've built, which is now way bigger than us, is this project called World. And World is basically a network of humans. And it responds to the problem of like trust on the internet in the age of AI, right? Like basically when you can fake anything on the internet, how do you know who and what to trust, right? And we can talk about how like everything from social media to financial services to like Taylor Swift tickets have completely broken down. And so we think we need a new primitive on the internet called proof of human. And so we've built a way in which you can get like a blue check mark that actually works, that tells you like, hey, this account is a real and a unique person without telling you anything about them. And so we think that as all these things continue to happen and Maltbook and like all of these like chaos that we're like going towards, we think that the solution for a lot of those things, for the internet to stay like as precious as it is right now and as useful as it is we're going to need something like proof of human. So that's what we've been working on for a few years. And so Tools for Humanity is the company that they started and that I work for. We launched World, this protocol, like 2 years ago, but it's a weird thing, right? It's not a company, it's not a product. It's an open source protocol, sort of like SMTP or HTTPS, some of these foundational blocks of the internet. And so nowadays, more than 100 companies around the world contribute to it. And so what we do is we do two things. We still contribute to World, and then we also build products in the World ecosystem. So that's basically what we do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. And I think the reason, obviously, we why we wanted to get you on was obviously talk about Maltbook and everything that's going on. I assume that everything that you guys do with Tools for Humanity is just becoming so much more apparent because of, or becoming more important than ever because of these things called agents. I wanted to kind of get your take firstly on Maltbook and everything you think about what's happening at the moment, because things are happening every day. It's crazy.
It's crazy, man. I remember we Alex, our CEO, used to talk about like the AGI and like agents as like a new species landing on the internet, and now like we have to share the internet with it, and pretty soon it's gonna be like mostly agents rather than humans. And it's like this very weird dynamic, isn't it? Like they have like their own little scene, and I think like Maltbook is the first little taste of that. It's like hard to believe that that whole system was built by like one guy. That's just like on the side hacking on this open claw thing. And I really think that's like a taste of where the internet is going to go, right? And I think like going forward, we'll have like three kinds of spaces. There will be spaces like Maltbook that are like just for the agents, and like maybe we'll get to like peek in, but like they'll be doing their thing there. We'll have spaces just for humans, maybe like we're hanging out with your family or with your friends, that are like really precious places, and like we'll probably want ways to make sure that like those are only for human. And then most of the internet, like we're gonna be interacting, and it's gonna be a mix of everything, and that's great. But we need to know what is what, right? And so like you'll be on a social network wherever you are, and you'll see a bunch of accounts, everyone talking, and I think you just want to see clearly labeled like, hey, this is an agent that belongs to a person, this is an agent that's like an independent entity, and this is a human, right? And so you can treat those differently on a product level, and then also as a user. And so things are about to get like pretty wild in this like multi-species internet.
Dude, that's such a, I agree, and two, like it was the first ever time that I was sort of presented with this kind of this like ethereal, sort of like dream-like sci-fi-esque moment throughout the whole of the AI course. Right, when GPT first released, it was like, this is really cool. That was definitely a moment that I remember. I genuinely think that for me, whether it was true or whether some of it was staged or whatever, regardless of that, I do think a veil was kind of unlifted a little bit as to what could potentially happen in the future, which is what you described there, which is starting to look a lot more accurate. And something that connected to this, when I was researching the company, like I came across the orb, the identification sort of, I'm struggling to describe it because it's one of the most nuts things I've ever seen. Can you maybe talk to us a little bit about the orb? Because it looks beautiful. The design is so nice. But it sits in this sci-fi world, I think.
Yeah, totally. So I really wish I had one with me right now to show you. I'm about to get on a plane. So I had one and I just gave it away. But you can just like Google like WorldCoin or World Orb, and like you'll find it. It looks crazy. It looks like out of a Pixar movie, like it belongs to like WALL-E. But in practice, it's just a really high resolution and secure camera. It has a camera, and then it has some sensors that are very similar to what you have on your iPhone for like Face ID. And like at its core, this solved the problem, which like, okay, let's say you have this magical blue check mark, right? Okay, humans get a blue check mark, bots don't. But then how do you know who do you give a blue check mark, right? Because everything you can think of, you can just cheat with AI. And so we spent 6 years on R&D, and we tested a bunch of things, and at the end of the day we concluded that, look, you need to see a person physically, and you need to see it with secure hardware that can operate in untrusted environments like anywhere in the world. And so the way it works is you get a driver's license, you go to one of our locations, and you can get verified in an orb. And the cool thing about it is it doesn't need to store any of your data. So it basically takes some like pictures of your face and of your eyes, and it sends those pictures to your phone, and they only get stored on your phone. And that acts as this proof of human. And so going forward, you can verify that you are a real human on apps like Tinder now, or with Razer, or with plugins and things like Shopify. And so like all over the internet, you'll start this popping up where without sharing any of the data that the orb saw, you can prove that you're that you're this person. And so in the future, this is a protocol, right? So the orb is the first camera that supports the protocol that connects to the network. But there's other companies right now that are developing different cameras, and they probably won't look as crazy as ours. Like, we obviously wanted something symbolic. It's a sphere because it represents the world, like the project is called World. Obviously you want something eye-catching, right? No pun intended, to like cut through the noise as a startup. But in the future, like, there's no reason why something like that couldn't look like a DSLR or like more familiar form factors. But it's a really cool thing. And if you're in a city that has an orb, I would definitely recommend checking it out.
That's cool. Wicked, because surely, like, nowadays, I mean, you mentioned that, yeah, it's been a few 7 years, 6-7 years of R&D and all of that kind of stuff. Surely now is really the time that the opportunity is just huge for a company like this to, you know, so many people would want to be like, yo, I'm a, you know, it's like verify that you're a human, right?
It's like year of trust.
Exactly. So what's coming down the track for the company, and what are you guys building to make sure that, you know, I guess you can supply the demand? I assume that the demand is gonna skyrocket.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just continuing to grow on both like the user side of things and on the app side of things. On the user side of things, we launched 2 years ago. We have in total 40 million people on the network that can do a bunch of different things, and 20 million of those have verified an orb, and so they get to do everything. The other people only get to do some things on the network. And then on the developer side of things, we have two kinds of developers. We have small startups, and they build these things called mini apps that you can use right inside of our app. Those have been used more than 2 billion times already. And then we have established companies, like big companies, so I was saying, like the Tinders or the Razors or like many others that you can use like out there. And so right now we're focused on, number one, continuing to like expand access so more people have orbs near them, right? Which is like really hard because you have to deploy hardware in the real physical world, and like atoms is way harder than bits. And on the other side of things, as the network has continued to grow and as AI advances, like getting that machine going on the application side of things. And so it's like any network is only as useful like as the number of people you have on it. Is an exponential, right? Because of the network effects. And so we're now starting to get to this point where like 10, 30, 40 million people, it starts being a really interesting user base for apps to integrate with. And so I think you'll see us the rest of the year expand availability a lot, and then also launch a bunch of integrations with companies that are like, frankly, like pretty desperate for something like this to exist. And the only bottleneck is like our ability to like have coverage for their users. And so working really hard, not just inside of our company, but every company in the ecosystem to like really like take advantage of the moment. Because like you said, like this is what we've been working for the last 6 years.
So cool. One last question just before we let you go. I know we are at time. If it's okay, if you do have
of course,
time.
Of course.
Awesome. So the company like co-founded by Sam Altman, like one would presume that there's a level of intensity to how a company founded by someone like Sam Altman would be, and that we are very supportive of that. We think that's a great thing. You know, we want people to move fast, especially if they're working on a sort of generational technology like this that has. Not that, again, not that I've had to say this before, but not that B2B SaaS doesn't matter, but like this is a very important technology, right? It can change people's lives. What's it like on the ground? What's it like at the company, culture-wise? You know, how are people feeling? What is it? You know, do you have that fast pace? Is it intense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we work really hard, right? I got into a bit of trouble poking around a reporter a few months ago because there was this report about like how hard we work, and I was like, yeah, of course we work really hard, right? Like this is really important. But I think much more than that, I think like just the talent density. Like I've never worked at a team that's like this talented, and like across the world we have offices all over the world, both because of the operations and R&D, and so it's very inspiring, honestly. The kind of like talent, obviously Sam can attract, but even more so the mission. Because people like really believe in the problem. They hold like the internet quite dearly. And so the talent density, and then yes, of course, like the urgency and the intensity is there. And the also really unique thing about the company is it's not just a software company, it's not just a hardware company, it's not just a cryptography company, it's not just an AI company. Like we have all of those and more, right? We are innovating on the hardware, like we're designing down to the lens. It's like custom lenses and the batteries for the device. We have the app for users, SDK for developers. decentralized protocol, like advanced cryptography to protect privacy, operations on the ground, the AI models that are verifying that you're human. So there's this full spectrum of like anything cool that you can think in the world. The best people that are doing those things are like working at that in TFH. And so it's just like super inspiring to get to be part of a team like that.
That's absolutely sick. That's so cool, dude. That's so awesome. Yeah, that must be nuts to be on the inside of that. Thiago, we are fresh out of time. Dude, thank you so much. I know it was late notice as well. Thank you for making time with us. Thank you for coming on. We'd love to have you back on again in the future.
Of course, we love that. And congrats on the show. Really cool.
Good stuff.
Dude,
Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. See you later.
Good stuff. That is the show. That is
ladies and
ETN
gentlemen.
number, I want to say like 32.
Yeah, 32 sounds about right, I think.
ETN number 32. Thank you very much for watching. Go to polymarket.com, go to airwallets.com, go to trispector.com, and go to ETNshow.com.